Welcome everybody to Season 3 of Call of Duty Challengers Elite here with We Are Clutch GG. My name's Infinity, joined by Proper for all of the fun and games. Proper, it's time. We're officially over halfway through the season. It feels like it's been the longest time since you and I have been casting Challengers Elite together.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, it almost feels like time has not only just flown by since Challengers Elite Season 1 when you and I first kicked things off, but it's also feels like it's been a hot minute in between Challengers Elite Season 2 and 3. Well, because quite frankly, it has. We've had the Pro-Am, we've had the Minnesota Open, a lot of good competition for these amateurs to compete in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been incredible. I mean, look, we've had like a kind of a small off season, if you will. Now we're right back into the mixer. Of course, as you said, we had Minnesota, we had the Pro-Am, two massive events. And I think they were massive for a variety of different reasons. There's been a lot of implications off the back of those two events. Coming into Season 3, we're going to be going through a lot of them today. Of course, look, we're going to be kicking things off today with our main focus matchup. That is going to be Mistaken versus Ultra Academy EU. That is the matchup we'll be focusing on. But as is always the case, with Call of Duty Challenges, we've got observers in pretty much every single matchup. And of course, there is the official broadcast over at youtube.com/COD Challenges. So if you're not already subscribed to that channel, you damn well should be. But regardless, there's all the challenges to watch tonight. We're going to have observers in pretty much every single game. So you guys aren't really going to be missing anything. But that is the match we are going to be kicking things off on. But before we get into talking about that specifically, Andy, I kind of want to talk about the season in general here because a lot has changed. As we said, it's been a long time since Challengers Elite Season 2. A lot has changed. Obviously, I think the big thing coming into Season 3 here, Team War, can they defend their title? That is the big question, I think, coming into this one.
Yeah, Team War, former Vengeance, your Season 2 Elite Champions here for the European region, is something that got shaken up quite nicely for this region as a whole. For those that are unaware, I'll go ahead and give you a quick little story time with Proper Cast here, is that Rocker Academy originally with Journey instead, and we'll talk more about that here in a little bit, was on a warpath. You know, they won 4 Cops in a row. They won Challengers Elite Season 1. They seemed unbeatable, and then they ended up getting knocked down to the lower bracket by that Vengeance roster, now known by Team War. And then they ended up beating them in grand finals a second go of things. It took 2 best of 5s, but still won nevertheless. It's one of those things that this roster, again, when it comes down to Team War as a whole, and it was also quite showing when we were looking at the Pro-Am not only just a few days ago, that this team does gel very well together. Just a few games shy, and even the games that they did lose against all those pro teams were incredibly close. It is very interesting, nonetheless, how strong this Team War roster truly is. And certainly it means that one of these teams, one of these other 7 teams in the Elite Season 3, needs to step up to the plate and almost beckon to be able to take that title away from them.
And that's not really the only thing going on, right? Going into Season 3, of course. As is always the case, there's been a flurry of Rostermania moves between Minnesota, the Pro-Am, and of course, everything in between those events. The biggest one, I think, coming into this one, and we'll be discussing it later on during our broadcast, Dos Tontos, Amedeo. Of course, they swapped a player with the Rocker Academy roster. I know you're laughing at me, Andy, because I know that
It
I'm
was
going to
funny.
say it wrong over and over again. It's okay. Hopefully, we don't have to say it for long. But regardless, there's that whole roster move that's gone down between those two teams. They're not the only two teams that have made roster moves coming into this event. Toronto Academy EU, Gizmo joins that team. Dizzy on Dizzy's Rascals. Who is Dizzy? Who knows? We're going to find out, I presume, with Season 3. And of course, Nelson on Invincibles as well. There's a ton of roster moves to talk about. There's a ton, I think, to talk about, generally speaking, coming into it. But we're going to kick things off today with the Invincibles versus Rocker Academy. Of course, we kind of said it would be Mistaken versus Ultra Academy EU. We lied. It happens sometimes. But the Invincibles versus Rocker Academy, I still think this is going to be a bit of a great matchup here, Andy.
It really is. Nolson coming back into the mix for Call of Duty Challengers is something that we were almost expecting, waiting for. The inevitability, maybe someone almost argue. And the Invincibles all the way through. We'll get that change in the UI. It's not Invincibles. I don't even know if that's a true word or not. But regardless of the matter, it definitely helps out with the pace issues that the Invincibles were losing ever since moving away from Furious being picked up by Ultra Academy EU. But they're going up against this Rocker Academy, which, again, is going to be very interesting against Sukri now coming into the mix instead of Journey, who did get dropped. Lucky is now picking up that SMG role to join the likes of Young Buck Real. So going away from P1, this is a traditional 50-50 as you can traditionally ask for. So you're basically looking at the rotation, which is currently being held quite wonderfully by the Invincibles from the front.
Well, Rocker Academy, they're going to be spawning in the back line here, and you never quite want to doubt this Rocker Academy roster, of course. They've been pretty good at hardpoint. I think that might be an understatement, to be honest, in Season 1 and Season 2. It definitely helped them move forward in both of those seasons, so we'll be keeping an eye on them here as they now find their way into the hardpoint for the last 40 seconds or so. The Invincibles will want to give this one more hit. It's whether or not they're even going to be allowed to. Real at the front of the hardpoint will be zoning off that area of the map. The Invincibles trying to find a route on through, but getting shut down at every single turn. Sukri and Metals combined for 3. Rocker Academy, they are holding the Invincibles off for now with 20 seconds left here, Andy. This is sublime. We see the spawn flip come on through.
Yeah, it's literally that spawn flip that's about to mean everything. Treacherous warfare about to be coming through for the Invincibles, as now they have to battle not only from the warehouse, but they have to hit through P2. Because again, that scrap time, you don't necessarily want Rocker Academy to hold for themselves, at least knowing that they have B-lane control. Rocker Academy are doing this quite wonderfully. Lucky picking up that SMG, trying to finesse for more scrap time. They'll be cut down. And so now for the Invincibles, yeah, you were able to soak up what felt like maybe about 2 seconds off of P2. That's realistically it. Rocker Academy, they hold the rotation, but the Invincibles are hitting through the B lane quite quickly.
Here they come, the Invincibles. You kind of want to hit this fast, so you not want to let this get pretty quickly in favor of Rocker Academy here in this game, and that's actually a pretty good go of things. Rappy and Grad can combine for 2. The Invincibles have found the kills necessary to break their way on in, and, well, that was a bit premature, I think, from Sukri there. Got a little bit ahead of himself. Wanted to heroic play inside the hard point to get the remaining time. He is going to be denied such a play, so the Invincibles will be in for now. And you get the sense here, I think, for Rocker Academy with about 20 seconds left. Maybe give this one more hurrah, if you will. If you can take this time away from the Invincibles, great. If you can't, don't stress about it, mate. You know you've got the rotation. You've already got the spawns for next.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you do see Lucky just try to get back in towards P3, try to finesse a little bit of scrap time. It's kind of deja vu of what just happened from 2 going in towards 3, but not a whole lot of time was allocated for Rocker Academy's bank. The Invincibles did a great job at least breaking back in, walking away with almost about 40 seconds to keep in mind you. So now the break from the front needs to be secure, but you also have to keep in mind Rappy is working the utmost important flank. It will force Metals to spawn all the way out by P1, but the Invincibles, although they're setting up the pinch, they're unaware of the spawn flip that comes through. So Metals will find themselves some unique time to be out in the back, so the Invincibles can't break as cleanly as they once hoped, but they are still in nonetheless.
Beautiful break coming in from the Invincibles there. You don't want to give that time away to Rocker Academy, so nicely done to make sure that flip does come on through. And now, of course, for Rocker Academy, you've got to fight this one from the front. Try and get through train station if you can. Metals is going to be next up to do that. I think Real has actually managed to filter his way on through Broken, but he is quickly shut down there by Nile. So the Invincibles doing a good job of making sure Rocker Academy do not get in, but as I say, it's a wave of Rocker Academy gunfights that go in their favor. They're going to be now zoning the Invincibles off all the way towards that back warehouse spawn. And, well, the next hardpoint should be theirs, at least for the moment.
And what made Rocker Academy so strong through Season 1 and 2, Berlin Hardpoint was one of their bread and butters. I know that it was with Journey on the submachine gun, Lucky as the main AR, but now insert Sukri, and we'll have to see if they can continue on with the same sort of success that we were seeing from P5 the last few seasons, but it's not looking like they're able to get the strong setup. They were playing on the favored side of the map, Brody, but the Invincibles quickly off the bounce. They recognize, hey, we need to get Mailroom back in our control. They're able to do just that, and they're able to meet Rocker Academy with the gunnies as well. That's a clean kill feed to look at things for the Invincibles, just keeping all of Rocker Academy at bay, which is very difficult to do from this side of the map, but they're looking to do so in kind.
Control of that hard point very quickly. Going to switch right back over to Rocker Academy, though. Wave of gunfights that does go in their favor. And more importantly, here, looking over towards the next rotation, Metals is already over in this area. There is 2 kills for this rotation. Just Nolson left to take down. It's not a problem for Metals and for Rocker Academy here, as they will get those rotational gunfights in kind. The Invincibles now going to be flipping out all the way over towards Warehouse, towards that train yard area of the map. They have a marathon to run before they get towards this next hard point. So Rocker Academy will be able to pick up a fair amount of time. But here's a live looking at the matchup that we were mentioning early on. Ultra Academy EU versus Mistaken Esports. That is a massive matchup. Mistaken, obviously, they want to be a team here coming into Season 3 that surprises a lot of rosters. They are the underdog by a very definition. But for Ultra Academy EU, Gizmo joining that team, we have a lot of questions about how that is going to affect that roster. But back to this one here, Andy.
Surely a lot of answers that we need, answers for those questions, I'm sure of it. We'll take a look at that here momentarily. The 50-point lead going in towards the second set of hard points will at least be contested. The Invincibles are able to break their way back in towards P1, at least for a small amount of time. Again, breaking inside of P1 through a second set is no easy feat, but Rocker Academy, again, they can continue to lean on this leader's advantage going forward. And you can see even on the minimap, it's starting to manifest. Sukari thinks that they're all alone, that they have the entirety of the B lane in their control, but nobody read that Raffi was already in there. So Lucky's going to get met by an AR inside of the mailroom itself. Numbers would at least suggest that Rocker Academy should be able to break this as cleanly as you would once hope, but they're still sending players that try to finesse with the scrap time, and the Invincibles, they're just able to set up inside a mailroom. They are here gunning Rocker Academy. They'll be in for the initial time.
That's the kind of snappiness you want to see out of Nolson, of course, the newest addition to this Invincibles roster. And now, of course, the question is, can they hold on towards this time? Rocker Academy attempting to find their way in. Real sliding towards that stairwell. Takes down Nolson in the process, and now Niall has to play this one patiently. How many kills can he get? Just the one before he is traded on out. Rocker Academy going to sniff him out before he can do any damage. More kills as well from Real there, the young gun, the best player from Season 2 on this Rocker Academy side. That last 15 to 20 seconds will go Rocker Academy's way, and you mentioned it already, Andy, right earlier on in this game. Leader's advantage it's such a potent thing, right? Rocker Academy, they're already ahead by 85 points or so. If they get broken here, this is going to be a disastrous moment in the game.
I mean, you need a full 60 to essentially come back. It's 121 v 186, and the Invincibles, they're at least on the favored side of P3. They're messing with these crane spawns. Rocker Academy, they know how to break this hard point. They're sending all 4 players to try to flood through this B lane, but they're only maybe able to walk away with a 3-for-1 trade as far as it currently stands. You're going to be at least having players pretty darn close, but they're still trying to invest numbers to get past this B lane. Nolson, Grad, they're able to clean up from a few of those players on that main street. It just comes down to Real to try to finesse, hold their life for a little while longer, and try to make sure that they can at least contest some time going forward. Find these kills. You won't break and you won't flip these spawns, but you might be able to get in for the back 20.
I wouldn't want to flip these spawns, to be honest. Not at this point in time. The Invincible is going to continue to spawn for the back line. If you can get that last 20 seconds, great. But you do not want to flip those spawns. You want to continue to spawn over towards New. A massive hard point. Mention it. You get a full 60. The Invincibles are right back in the game. And, well, look at this. They are exactly right back into the game. But now it's about this rotation. And pretty much every single gunfight so far has gone the way of Rocker Academy. They'll be feeling relatively confident now about this next gunfight, but they need to make sure none of these players manage to filter on through towards the back warehouse area, as that is where they lost control last time around. Unfortunately, Andy, this time that hasn't happened. Raffi has been sniffed out before he can do any of that damage. The initial gunfights will be going Rocker Academy's way.
They can't close it out here, but they'll put themselves in about 5 seconds if they don't get broken, and the Invincibles are more than aware of that. And you're right to call out Rocker Academy. They're able to rectify the situation that did end up concluding on the last P4 through the first set of hard points, is that Raffi was able to slowly sneak their way through the back, but won't be able to get themselves in scot-free. So now the break has to come through the front, and that's a suggestive kill feed coming through for the Invincibles. They will break in through the front, but with 15 seconds remaining, they flood all the way through. That's going to force Rocker Academy to spawn out. Raffi needs to continue to run these routes, needs to find success in towards the back, and to keep dwindling Rocker Academy's numbers ahead of 5.
I mean, that's a player they have to deal with, right? I mean, fortunately for Rocker Academy, they do actually deal with Raffi before he can do any more damage in the back line. But now for the Invincibles, can they find their way on through the train station? The initial kill feed doesn't exactly look positive for them. Niall will fight back with the kill onto Real. Metals will fall as well, so an opening might have just presented itself here, or rather Rocker Academy have found themselves out of this situation. The Invincibles able to win the gunfights now to find their way on through, but you got to make sure you get mailroom as well as this train area of the map. Can Real do anything about this? He is shut down. Now Metals on towards the point. You're on your own for now. One more gunfight would be nice, but you just can't find it. Neither team able to get a grip over this hard point. It's not that surprising. This is pretty much what we expect out of P5.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, especially with the Invincibles still holding down these power positions. What can suggest to be a very strong P5 hold is when you have players top mail, and Grad is still up here, just making sure that they can at least find some trades, continue to make sure that Rocker Academy can't get success on P5. They will find kill number 5 in a row, 2 kills away from getting themselves that glide bomb. How influential would that be going in towards a third set of rotations for another P1, but Lucky will cut that streak down to size. The Invincibles will be in for the initial time by P1, and this leader's advantage that Rocker Academy hold are just dwindling down to about 30 points. They need to break early because the Invincibles can very much still run away and potentially close the game here.
It might be evaporating well before our eyes here, but they have to be careful because Rocker Academy, they are initiating a pinch in from behind. Comes that one player. I'm not too sure who it was. I think it was Real, who is going to fall. Now the trade's going to be in favor of Rocker Academy, though. Metals able to pick up 2, pre-firing for the second here on towards Grad. in that patio area. The Invincibles, they're going to be spawning over towards fire. Can anybody touch this hard point? If anybody's going to do it, you've got to imagine it's going to be Nolson in through the front. He gets shut down. And now I think there's probably all just rests on the hopes and shoulders of Niall. You might not be able to put a stop to this one. Rocker Academy, they have too many players forward, and they will take map number 1 in this best of 5. Andy, I'll be honest, obviously coming into here to season 3, the Invincibles, they didn't have such a good go at things in Season 2, albeit it was a different fourth from the team in Hardpoint. I think it was 1 and 10. So
Yeah.
that isn't really the map we expect to take in a best of 5 versus Rocker Academy.
Yeah, and again, it's big shoes to be filled when you're thinking about the grander scheme of things for the Invincibles. We'll talk more about that later as we have a very hotly contested Bokash hardpoint. Who would be surprised? Again, Ultra Academy EU, insert Joey Gizmo for Harry. A little bit of a cut and paste, if you will, for the substitute, and now the proper player there for London Royal Ravens. But in towards P2 we go. Mistaken Esports are currently in, and they can't close it out here, Brody, but they're going to put themselves damn near close.
Mistaken. Get it done on the next rotation. Ultra EU, they've got players over here for now. Snake trying to find his way in. Snake and Johnny W, they get it done. The kills go in their favor, and it's going to be Mistaken striking first in the series. And how about that for a twist in the tail? We didn't really know what to expect from Mistaken coming into this best of 5. We didn't really know what to expect from Mistaken at all, to be honest, other than obviously, we've seen Snake, we've seen Sean play in Challengers Elite in Season 1, of course, and Sean over at Minnesota on the Invincibles roster as well. I don't think we expected that, though.
Well, it's one of these things. I know you love yourself a good preamble, Brody. We didn't necessarily get to build this off for what it actually is. And when you're thinking about this Mistaken Esports roster, just on the players that are represented on this roster as a whole, yes, when you're thinking about Snake on former Flux Esports, the only thing that they really found any success with going back to previous seasons of the Elite was on the Search and Destroy. But there's one thing to keep in mind here for this Flux Esports roster, specifically coming through the qualifier that you and I got to cast over as well, after beating, what was it, Prawn Sandwich, what was their name? That's
Yeah.
Aroma with Mythics as well.
Yep.
It's one of those things that they love to outpace their opponents, and it really catches their opponents off guard. Now, when we saw the live look-in, Ultra Academy EU were actually ahead by a solid about 20, maybe 30 seconds. We saw a very quick break, but we were finishing up that Berlin hardpoint between Rocker Academy and the Invincibles. But it would suggest one thing, is that Snake did Snake things, and it seems, especially what was suggestive off of the KD ratios there that we saw in the stats, that they pick things up just ever so slightly, and that can become an absolute nuisance. We have seen Snake on a map like Bokaj with an AR in their hand, no less, just goes absolutely AWOL. When you have an AR going rogue like that, I mean, what do you even do? Like, you could just turn to your SMGs and be like, you need to turn it up a little bit, maybe, but not when Snake is just holding angles. That opens up the floodgates for so many different players for this Mistaken Esports roster to continue to find more and more success on a map like Bokaj, where an AR is just going AWOL like that. You could just kick your feet up as an SMG, just hit routes, and just be able to find those little cleanup kills, those little trades, and it will suggest what the scoreline already presents, that 9-point win for Mistaken Esports.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's crazy, right? Because obviously, it is a bit of a weird matchup. I'll admit, coming into this one, I think on paper, you're looking at Ultra Academy EU versus Mistaken. I felt like Mistaken coming into Challengers Elite Season 3, and it might still be a bit premature to even say this might not be the case, but I really felt like them, and maybe this is getting ahead of ourselves, I think, generally speaking, Louisville Red Rules in the NA side of Challengers Elite. I didn't think these teams were going to do all that well just because of how tight the competition was in EU. Clearly, I was mistaken. Mistaken playing very well here
Nice.
in this first. But yeah, look, we have to get the low hanging fruit out of the way first, don't we? Yeah, Mistaken Esports. Clearly they've proven themselves here in map number 1. But ultimately, we didn't really know what to expect from them coming into season 3. Again, we've seen Shauna Snake. We saw what they were able to do in season 1, and it didn't go so well, did it? Flux Esports, I think they won 3 maps in total. It is all they were able to get. And I think 2 of them were Search and Destroyers, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong in saying that. I think you and I remember, we both remember them doing pretty well in Search and Destroy at least, and taking teams pretty far in those S&Ds.
All their maps were Search and Destroy. They went 3 and 21 for maps. Yeah, and
there you go.
Search and Destroy. Yeah,
that explains it. That explains it. Yeah, look, we knew they were good at Search and Destroy. So for them to come in here and take a hard point, this is a pretty big start for them against Ultra Academy EU. I want to say though, on the flip side of this situation, we have this Ultra Academy EU roster, and I think this is what everyone kind of wants to talk about. This is the big discussion point, really, isn't it? Coming into season 3 for everybody is, for Ultra Academy EU, going into the Pro-Am, I don't think they were quite expecting the turn of events that occurred to occur. I don't think they were expecting that whatsoever. They were fully expecting to go into the Pro-Am like a full strength with Harry roster, and that didn't happen. Honestly, I kind of said it on Twitter after the event. I don't think what we saw at the Pro-Am was a fair representation of how talented this squad are. And I think that might actually get better, to be honest, with Gizmo on the roster, because Gizmo is damn nasty at the game.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, dude, when we did our breaking point top five players, I believe that all of us on the panel probably had Gizmo within our top five, if not closer to our top three, just for what they were bringing to the table continuously throughout Cold War. But it's going to be continuously interesting. Just again, to hit the point one more time, is that Harry obviously did not play with Ultra Academy EU at the Pro-Am. If you watch the event, Harry was playing with the London Royal Ravens, but even more so than that, that's kind of the gamble, right? When you are playing with an Academy player, or when you were playing with a substitute player for a CDL team, that they could be called up at any given moment notice. Now, obviously, Joey had to come back home over towards Europe to be able to take care of some personal things, but it's that gamble that you're almost playing with that Ultra Academy you almost had to be more than aware of. So, again, as I was saying throughout that Bokosh ending, is that, you take out Harry, you replace in with Joey Gizmo, and it's one of those things, again, yes, Gizmo is damn nasty at the game. We could say that all damn day. But the practice just simply is not there for Ultra Academy EU. And that was very prevalent when you go back and you watch some of the VOD from Ultra Academy EU's play over at the Pro-Am as well, Brody, that they just were not, the synergy just was not there comparatively to what we saw in Challengers Elite Season 2. And it'll be continuously interesting to be able to see how that team progresses, knowing that they do have Gizmo, how Scribs will be able to make that team stronger as we progress later on down the line for this round robin stage.
alrighty, well, we've got to look in at Mistaken versus Ultra EU. I think it's a good time to go back over to the Invincibles and Rocker Academy, back over to another roster, which has recently made change. Of course, Sukri joining in on this team. Things certainly seem to be going well in the first Search and Destroy round, don't they? 3 versus 1. It is just now Niall left alive here in this 1 versus 3. He's got the bomb, at least, but taking those shots is going to give all the information that Rocker Academy need, or maybe not. Niall seems to have pulled off the great escape.
Yeah. Might just be able to find themselves timings, but you got to allocate 4.5 seconds to be able to plant that bomb. The moment that they look towards the little cut over by that tank and between fire, they will get gunned. There was just every single defender over there as well. It's going to be an interesting conversation going forward about the Invincibles as a whole when they were playing underneath, what was it, the Originals banner back in Season 1 when they were playing with Furious, is that what made their Search and Destroy quite good was that they had Furious as, again, like, I mean, he's instigator incarnate when it comes down to Search and Destroy, just always fishing out those first bloods. The aggression was always there, and the Invincibles were able to clean up off of that set aggression, specifically on this map mode combination. But this is also a map mode combination that we know Lucky can do dirty things with a snipe. There is the timing, finds the first, saw the second cross as well.
It's opening bloods here for Rocker Academy. Didn't get to see the start of round number 1, but this start of round number 2 has been perfect for the Rocker side. And now just Nelson left up 1 versus 4. He's probably learned a lot of patience playing Halo Infinite over the last few months. So coming into Call of Duty Vanguard again, going to put that to good use here in this 1 versus 4. That's the first kill coming through. I imagine, though, that Real has just seen him. Obviously, we don't know. And there it is. The call comes through. Metals puts the first shots in. I think it was Real who finished him off. And that is going to be 2-0 now for Rocker Academy. They started that round very strong.
And it's again, just like very interesting, continuous. When you're thinking about just how much strength, how much backbone we have for this Rocker Academy roster on Berlin through both Search and Destroy and Hardpoint. Very interesting to be able to say if they come out of the woodworks and have Berlin control to be also one of their strongest game hoods as well would also be quite telling. But Lucky with the sniper, they see 2 players cross, they find the first, they convey that information to Sukri across the A bomb for to be able to get that second. Numbers advantage aside, the Invincibles just simply could not bounce back from it. Minimap will be blocked by player requests. Of course, we are living in the same boat as you at home. Everybody. So as this offense will start to progress for the Invincibles, they're kind of suggesting that they want to hit towards this B lane, but they want to make sure that they get at least some information of where these Rocker Academy defenders are located at.
Dang it. I really thought we were going to get away with the minimap for the longest time there, Andy. 2 rounds in, we had the minimap. I was so happy. But regardless, before we go, Lucky. Oh! If there's one thing that you never take away from Lucky, it is his Car 98K. And unfortunately, he will miss that first snipe. But make no mistake, he will hit a couple more before this Search and Destroy is done. Rafi, though, is going to be the first player here to draw blood in this Search and Destroy round. And, well, that's Lucky down for the count. That is a massive guy. I realize now why you say wow, because Lucky had a sniper rifle. He should win that.
I say that it was almost like a 2 times wow, right? Because I mean the nade, I'm surprised that Real even lived. That nade looked like it was cooked up for perfection. Sukri will find that trade on the grad as inside the concourse of the train station. And they actually hit all the way through. They stay alive and at least enforce this 3v3. And Invincibles, they have to force out the plant. They have to extend this round to 45 seconds.
How quickly does the Rocker Academy react here? Well, it doesn't really matter at this point, does it? Sukri and Real are down. Metals is being peppered with multiple bullets from the Invincible sides, and that was a very fast reaction from the Invincibles. I think nicely done to get into that site.
It's just so tough, right? When you find that timing, again, when Sukri finds that trade inside of the concourse, you automatically have to then call on for Real to be able to drop their position from top fire. They have to quickly go look at the lobby, but they didn't necessarily have the angle to be able to stop it. I don't even think the doors were open for a stun to come all the way through if they had a nade as well. But even more so than that, the setup for the Invincibles, when the bomb plant did come through, it was absolutely sublime. They had every single corner squeaky clean, and they were able to deal with the players and isolate all the engagements, just knowing where their pinches and all their gunfights were going to be coming from. Lucky again, Kar98K would have known he's going to be able to walk away with another first blood, but I'd almost expect that would mean for a further numbers advantage and Rocker Academy following suit.
Should probably say as well, by the way, you can see it there on our screen. Soleo signs go up against Dos Tontos, Amadeo, and yeah, that one's not going so well for the French. They are getting battered in Gavutu hardpoint. And of course, again, we should probably note that just like Rocker Academy, they were involved in that swap, so we see Journey now on that team, and we can see it very, very minutely, but it looks like Journey's having a hell of a time on Gabuti. So we'll keep you guys updated as that one goes down. But right now, the Invincibles able to bring this at least to a 2 versus 3 with that kill coming on through. But the bomb now down here, Andy. This is going to be a tough one to retake. I believe that Grad and Nile are also on different sides of the site. Nile, though, gets that first blood onto Sukri for the re-entry. So this now makes this infinitely easier. 30 seconds left here. Again, you have to reserve some of that time. Grad, he's been spotted out inside the site. And now for Nile, of course, he already got that prior kill. So they have some idea of where he is. And he is checking every single corner right now. He's just going to jump onto the defuse. Should be taken down here. Oop, takes a little bit longer than I think they wanted, but job's done.
Now, again, it takes 7.5 seconds to defuse the bomb in Vanguard. I mean, you're just suffocating the game clock when you're looking at this from Rocker Academy. Again, that was going to be a 2v4 retake, which when it's planted over inside of A, and there's just so many corners. I mean, you even saw when Nile was slow rolling their way inside of the offices. Again, they only had time to be able to check maybe the sliver behind one desk, one corner, behind one door. It was down to maybe about 10 seconds. You just have to hop it at that point and just know that the timing is probably going to come from behind, if not over by the doors. So nice little job well done from Rocker Academy. All off the first blood from Lucky once again. They're going to stack 3 players over towards this A, S, and D site. And they actually read this quite wonderfully, but they don't win the gunfights.
Real, he's going to get one and gets away. That is crucial.
Massive. In
this 1 versus 4. But can he do any more damage here? Ooh, he gets the second goal. There's no way. Real! No! No! Don't do it. Okay. All right, we're all good. I don't like the way that Real does that to us. I don't like that.
We've been there before, for sure. Whether it's between him, Mythics. We've seen, I mean, you and I have casted through Challengers Elite multiple seasons. We've seen our fair shares of 1v4s, and I mean, Real almost gave himself a real good look to be able to do that. But again, I mean, it just comes down to the Invincibles. They know where their pedigree is at to be able to hard hit their way over towards the AS&D site. They win the gunfights, they get the setup, and Rocker Academy, they have no choice. They have to just brute force their hand to be able to get that numbers back in their favor and stop that point from coming through. It just does not come up in their favor. Lucky will not find a very early first blood. They are taking their virtues over towards this B lane, where I think they might have seen at least a glimpse of a player, maybe, but probably not. Again, we have the X-ray. It's very tough to be able to tell. So now if you're Rocker Academy throwing stuns, throwing some nades, you just have to be able to do this off of guns in line of sight to be able to see where these players are located at. It's an aggressive position.
It is. Nolson can catch Lucky off as well. And there you go. We see it off screen, but nonetheless, it is there. Nolson going to take down Lucky, and that is pivotal in making sure that you have control over the B bomb site. Rocker Academy, they seem completely unfazed though. Real's like, yeah, you took out my sniper player. I don't particularly care. It's going straight for that kill versus Nolson here. Might well find it, but none of those shots will connect. At the very least hit, Metals has traded on things out. There is that kill coming through from Real. So now the Invincibles, they are down a man, even another one now. Nile, okay, I thought maybe he checked to his left there. Maybe he'd get away unscathed, but just not to be. Rocker Academy put another round between themselves and the Invincibles.
And that's got to be frustrating if you are looking at the side of Invincibles, right? Because, I mean, you got that first blood and in a very aggressive form. Again, Nolson with Kar98K. Typically, you'll see like an Automaton, maybe an MP40 play in that position. He brings a Kar98K to that position and, of course, does catch Lucky off guard. But, you know, when you're down to a pistol and then one more player has to drop from fire to be able to come reinforce that B hut, you're basically put into a cross. And Rocker Academy that did have ARs in those positions were watching it in kind. So a quick flip of the switch in that 3v4 for Rocker Academy to be able to take that round. up 2 as far as this S&D is concerned. Round number 7 would suggest, again, the Invincibles. The bomb being carried by Nile want this AS&D, but Rocker Academy, they're taking a much more passive setup, just making sure that they break some of these doors, making sure that these nades, these stuns all come through and dissuade Invincibles from getting this quick plant down.
Bomber's going to go down. Nobody down in the round just yet. So for Rocker Academy, this could be a big hit. But in from behind comes Nolson. Able to take that player down. Rocker Academy. Man down. Can they retake their site? They've got Lucky on the other side of the situation. But as Real will fall, this is going to be infinitely harder to retake. Lucky has fallen as well. So Sukri, if I'm you in this situation, get your swim trunks out, mate. In you go.
You gave us like a nice little 360.
Yeah.
Little medium-high sensitivity there. Gotta appreciate that. But
little Tom Daly. You know who Tom Daly is? Is that too
yes.
British a reference?
No,
I don't know.
No, I know who Tom Daly is. Thank you.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
I am cultured. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for checking on me. But yeah, again, it's the Invincibles A offense, again, through multiple rounds. What is that now? I think it's actually the 3 rounds that they've won has all been off of the A offense. Nonetheless, have continuously found value with it, and they've been continuously finding this within one. Or within grasp of doing this. But again, Lucky just barely misses with the snipe. But it's, again, the information. There's 3 players here for Rocker Academy. They know 2 players are over here, Brody.
Lucky, he has kind of been neutered in a way, right? Just hasn't been all that effective so far in this search and destroy. Just 2 kills to his name. And he's run the sniper pretty much every round. But towards this one we go. 3v2 situation. Grad! Okay. Put it further in the Invincible's favor. Why don't you? And now Lucky 1 versus 3. I was saying he hasn't been that effective. It's time to get your effectiveness levels up. And, well, it's... And, the Invincible's going to tie this one up.
And they finally do what is actually required, not only winning a defense, but winning those 2 rounds in sequence of one another and knotting things up for a piece there in round number 8. That is so pivotal to the situation at hand for this roster of the Invincibles to be able to continuously find value, because Rocker Academy, again, they have had no answer for the Invincibles A offense. And again, it's over by A, where Lucky was able to watch 2 players cross, but the immediate angle across the offices was immediately being looked at. And Rocker Academy, they get smoked on the initial gunfights. And although Metals did find 1, they quickly rectified any sort of flank potential that was being looked at from Metals as well. So now you need to try to deny middle of the map pressure in this A offense that the Invincibles have been looking so abominable on.
Well, immediately there is a trade. Metals and Rafi going to be responsible for all those gunfights. Of course, the former of which has already fallen. Real put things in Rocker Academy's favor here. Nolson and Rafi. Barely see where Rafi is on our minimap. Just barely. He's right next to Lucky. Going to be a big gunfight to take. Rafi is going to find him. Now 2 for 2 we go. 45 seconds left on the clock. These players, I actually think they're pretty split apart on the map. That goes for both teams, by the way.
2v2, you have to play isolated if you are Rocker Academy. You don't know where this bomb's going to. I don't even know if you have the immediate information that it's even down. But Rafi, Spidey senses, tingling. Maybe doesn't clear the corner. Real will find him, forcing out the 1v2 from Nolson.
Oh, Nolson. Does he get away with this gunfight? Real, I saw him. Oh, I'd love to see this from Real's perspective. I think we're going to get it in just a second here. We can see in the picture-in-picture, Alter EU. 1 search and destroy round away here from tying things up with Mistaken. And we don't actually get to see the kind of preamble to Real's kill there, but I get a feeling he just kind of like saw something in the corner of his eye. So, yep, that's Nolson.
By proxy and elimination as well. I mean, you got to remember, Sukri was over by the upper courtyard throughout the entirety of that 2v2. So, I mean, he didn't see anybody cross, didn't see anybody come back in towards the A-bomb. So, by proxy, he probably knew that that last player, Nolson, was towards the middle of the map trying to force out the trade, and maybe walk away with a 1v1. But that point here for Rocker Academy to go up 2-0 in this series. It's going to be yet another A offense. This A committal for Rocker Academy has not been finding value, but they're not aggressively trying to force their hand this time around, knowing that they've lost a handful of gunfights on this side. They're waiting for Metals to try to convert any sort of opening first blood over by this staircase. And although not finding the immediate information, Sukri will land a nice clean nade for first.
I'm just going to wait patiently inside this bomb site. Oh, I get sniffed out, though. Lucky going to be responsible for that gunfight. Now the 2v4 for the Invincibles. Nile has quite a lot to do, and Metal's just seen him as well. You need the help of Nolson here. If you're Nile, and you're just not going to get it. Nolson has the sniper rifle. There's one. There's a second player coming around for fire, though. Nolson's going to be pre-aiming here for the longest time. does he get the timing? There's no way he gets away from timing here. Okay, Braille spots him. He has an idea that there might be a player trying to escape through patio side. And Rocker Academy, they walk away with a victory.
Yeah, it's 6-4 as cleanly as you would once hope. At least, you know, you're able to finally stop that A-bomb antics that the Invincibles were continuously walking away from when you're thinking about the grander scheme of things, that the Invincibles were walking away with damn near highway robbery. Again, where you're thinking about Berlin Search and Destroy as a map, it just at its core fundamental value is that a lot of players and a lot of teams a lot more comfort is over towards that B lane, you know, having the comfort of the sniper or an automaton watching that long B lane cross, making sure that there's nobody that can work their way through top fire. The Invincibles, again, they love to get dirty. They love to get down and towards the mud pits of Berlin, search and destroy, and just win the gunfights outright over by the A-bomb. And that was happening both on defense and offensive like. And when you get to continuously find value like that, you have to buy so much respect from Rocker Academy, which did end up coming through, that it finally came through for Rocker Academy to fully realize, look, let's play this smart. We know that they love to at least send 2 players over towards this A-bomb on our offense. Let's find some stuns. Let's find some nades. They land that team stun and nade combination where Sukri was able to find that first. And although Metal's location was known, you had to immediately pull back for the Invincibles. And that just opened up the floodgates for the pinch potential to come all the way through. And then the push soon to follow for Rocker Academy for them to be able to take that 6-4. Ultra Academy EU also able to win their search and destroy 6-3, as was probably understood was probably going to end up happening against Mistaken Esports. Again, Ultra Academy EU did not exactly have the strongest showcasing for search and destroy throughout season 1 of the Elite.
Yes.
Definitely got better through season 2 of the Elite, but again, Mistaken Esports, they're a respawn team through and through, although they have at least some backbone through European OLTs and search and destroy tournaments alike. It's going to be continuously tough when you're thinking about, you know, taking down Ultra Academy EU, especially with the likes of Furious, Vortex, not to mention Beans, and then insert Gizmo. The search and destroy prowess on that team is just the ceiling truly has no limits.
Yeah, we expect Ultra Academy to win that, right? And it's kind of funny because I think coming into season 3, again, we didn't really know what to expect. I think it was quite clear coming in from season 1 to season 2 for the Ultra Academy EU roster. The search and destroy improvements were major. You know, season 1, I think it's pretty fair to say it was a disaster for Ultra Academy EU in search and destroy. They looked kind of like headless chickens on the map for the majority of the time. But season 2 was really well put together. You can clearly see they made some change. I think that was the season where Josh came in for coaching staff for the roster as well. So that was a pretty big move for them. And as you've already pointed out here, of course, Furious, search and destroy. I mean, his performance in season 2 and in season 1, of course, for the originals, shows just how good of a search and destroy player he is. So those improvements seem to have carried over here to season 3, and they continue to look good. That is an important map in the series, because going 2-0 down are mistaken, albeit I've got faith in this Ultra Academy EU roster to reverse sweep in that matchup. It would be a tough situation, I think, for them to find themselves in. So Ultra going to tie that series up at 1-1. And of course, as we said, you know, Rocker Academy now 2-0 up against the Invincibles. I honestly feel like, I know we kind of lean on this narrative quite a lot when it comes to the Invincibles, but like, I think it's a fair thing to lean on. The Invincibles have proven in preseason and in season 1, the search and destroy is their game mode. They're one of the best search and destroy teams in European challenges. And to lose that, I think it's a big map in the series for Rocker to take, especially going into Control. We know how good at Control Rocker Academy can be. Of course, though, you know, there's always that unknown factor of the Invincibles. You know, what do they look like in Control with Nolson? Because clearly, I think it did look like they had improved things, albeit that was with Sean at Minnesota. What have the changes been like in the weeks since, if you will?
Yeah.
Of course, there is the other match going on right now, Andy, with Dos Tontos and Sileo Signs, which we did see that was a slapping. So Sileo Signs did not have a good time. So that is something we'll be keeping an eye on. But I think we're going here into the Gavutu Control. This is between Rocker Academy and the Invincibles. For the Invincibles, you got to win this, otherwise you're done.
And it's one thing just to build off what you were talking about with the Invincibles. How strong are they going to look with Nolson on Control? As, again, when they beat Prawn Sandwich to actually put themselves in towards Challengers Elite Season 3, it was all off the back end of Nolson just going absolutely hamburgers and finding themselves a continuous amount of value. Again, it's nice to see Nolson back in towards Call of Duty, but you're going up against Rocker Academy, which, again, it has just been, has such a strong pedigree throughout the entirety of the Vanguard season so far, of just outpacing their opponents left, right, and center. And one of them has been on this map mode combination, although not able to walk away with it. They've had more round 5 here losses than I'm sure that they want to end up looking at for themselves, but got themselves good A-zone coverage, at least for the time being. We can get rid of the mini-map blocker as well, as we are no longer on Search and Destroy. Imagine a Gavutu search, Brody. But even more so than that, Rocker Academy for their offense, probably looking at this A-zone conversion for an extra 60 seconds.
Oh, played Gavutu search? Pretty good,
Never
actually.
in my life, and I don't want to see what it looks like.
It's chaotic, for sure, which is surprising considering how huge Kabuto is. But regardless, into this one we go. So far, this has been a pretty good start for Rocker Academy. Here on the offense, they've already managed to grab A, and they have the life disparity in their favor, and even better as well, they've already got Metals in from behind. Of course, the flex player for this roster. It will not be long before Niall is able to take him down, so the Invincibles will stabilize for the moment. Rocker still sending players towards jungle, by the way. One by one they go. I think there's a little bit of overconfidence to this play, considering the fact that they are going individually towards that backline. However, that overconfidence will pay off. Real wins that initial versus Nelson. So that is something that now Rocker Academy, they do have in the backline.
Oh boy. And Syracuse already able to find one towards the beachfront, but the biggest issue will still coincide is that the Invincibles at least are able to cycle a player out through the middle of the map. That's going to be Grad, and that pinch is going to be quite influential to be able to get that player off the top ring. Only 2 kills to speak of, but 2 influential kills nonetheless, because that was about to be a nasty little snowball. I don't even know if they get snow over here in the Solomon Isles, but it was about to be one for sure. Rocker Academy are going to be looking at to maybe convert over towards that B zone. 2 quick kills, though, do come through for Rocker Academy. They will look at immediate ring control, but again, here comes Raffi, cycling players out continuously. Are the Invincibles. They uncontested at that. Raffi finds a nice little 2-piece, goes up to 6 and 5 total with 54 seconds remaining. You know Rocker Academy, they can't do this off of kills. It's not enough time to be able to find a last 6 kills to be able to force out no respawns remaining. They have to be able to win these gunfights, and they have to get on this B zone to stop that clock.
And Grad's just being annoyance over here on Beach, right? You've got to get rid of this player. This is, his 3rd kill, not necessarily in a row, but that he's been really frustrating this Rocker Academy roster. Finally, he is taken down, but Rocker Academy had quite a bit of ground to make up. That first kill from Metals will most certainly help, but you've got to remove these players. And as you've already said here, Andy, you don't really have the luxury of trying to force this out in lives. Rocker Academy, can they find their way in? Well, that's a pretty good start. Lucky comes in for 2. Nelson now, the next player to take down. He will not fall. Lucky needed to try and play his life there, I think, instead of going for that gunfight. But regardless, this is the situation you wanted to see if you're a Rocker Academy fan. Down to the last 4 lives, go the Invincibles, but it doesn't matter. They will clutch up. Lucky will fall as well. Every gunfight necessary goes the Invincibles' way. They hold on, and I don't think they lost a tick on B either.
No, they had just 3 ticks of progression for Rocker Academy there on their offense, which would be very influential going in towards round number 5. Remember, it's overall tick progression here in Vanguard control that will dispute that round number 5. But we'll shift our focus over towards our main match that we were talking about earlier, Ultra Academy EU versus Mistaken Esports. Knotted up 1 apiece in the series. The venue will remain the same, but the teams will change.
Indeed it will. Back over towards Gavutu we go for this one. Mistaken. They've already started pretty strong in this series with the first respawn in their favor. They'll want to continue that momentum here in towards the control despite losing the search and destroy. Beans has control of the anti-air gun. Now for Ultra EU. They haven't exactly lost control of the point either. They're starting to get those ticks on through. Sean, of course, the player who recently played for the Invincibles, trying to play his life. He will not pick up that gunfight versus Gizmo. So for Ultra EU, this has not been a bad start whatsoever. They are controlling the map very well.
Pretty darn strong at that. Again, stalling at the clock at a minute plus. They're already trying to shift their focus over towards B. If Beans was able to stay alive and not find one more kill, that would have been massive. It could have been ring control for Ultra Academy EU going forward. But they're still working up that second tick progression over here at A. Sivo's trying to cause a little bit of a ruckus in towards the back, and it's a little bit of an isolated play because nobody's reading the long flank that's coming around on the backside. Furious finally spots it. Sean trying to go desperate mode over towards the top side of LST. Cannot take down Gizmo, who's starting off on a 5 spree, 2 kills away from a glide bomb, a crucial resource for a lot of teams to find success to break inside the B zone.
We're asking questions of how Gizmo would fit into this Ultra Academy EU roster. Well, been pretty well at the moment. This 5-0 start towards this game has most certainly helped that secure coming through towards A, but Gizmo will not get kill number 6 there. Does get caught with his pants down by Johnny W. So, Mistaken, going to deal with the threat towards the backline. This becomes a much more one-dimensional attack towards the anti-air gun now for Vortex and for Beans. We're going to have help from Gizmo off the respawn very soon, but this is such a hard thing to take. You've got players on all of these head glitches. Runner, the next one inside the boat to do some damage. He will take down Gizmo. Needs some assistance from his teammates sooner rather than later, though. They will be on their way. You also got to be careful about Ultra EU starting to come on around the flank as well. But for now, Mistaken, they are holding on.
Holding on for now. And at least you stopped Gizmo from getting themselves that glide bomb, so a little bit of a breath of fresh air as it may end up being. Now, you're still down by 4 respawns, but with the current setup that you're looking at for Mistaken, you might just be able to push that envelope a little bit further forward. Runner would have loved to be able to get that kill that is top ring. And 3-player strong now are Ultra Academy EU, but Sean is in the position down over here by the mid-lander tank. It's actually getting flanked from behind, and Furies actually sifts him out. So these 4 players that are kind of flurrying their way over towards this beachfront are just mainline and focus over towards the B zone. They only lose 1, but you still got Beans pushing up on a 3 spree. They're going to get on that B zone and stop that clock at 40 seconds.
Yeah, Ultra, they're starting to put together some kills here. This is not a good situation for Mistaken to find themselves in. They've got very little map control over this B zone. And even if you get a tick or 2 right here, Ultra EU, they'll still be pretty happy with the situation. They're probably going to get more than that, though, given just how many kills came through in favor of Ultra EU. The lives dwindling down. Runner now permanently out of this round. Mistaken, can you put a stop to this one? Not when Furious is on this heady, ripping heads off the Mistaken players. Do it to the rat. Why on earth not? Snake, the last player left alive, and Ultra EU, they are going to strike hard here in round number 1 on the offense. What a way to start the control.
5 ticks of progression as well, Brody. That is massive because as you were talking about, although they were able to close it out by way of tick progression, getting those 2 ticks, or get by way of kills, excuse me, getting those 2 ticks on that B zone is still going to be very influential. It is so tough. Again, I cannot exclaim this enough. If you have not watched a lot of Vanguard this season, it is so damn rough to be able to get yourself over towards that B zone to at least even see tick progression, to even see a Mustachio's hair of tick progression as well because of the different angles and the spawns, how close they can truly be for the defenders. But Ultra Academy EU, they find the pressure, they push all the way forward, they keep Mistaken Esports' resources dwindled off, and it's thanks to all the early gunfights they were able to find. Now you have to be able to replicate that success for Mistaken Esports on this offense. It simply won't go their way. 2 for 1 goes the kill feed, 3 for 1, excuse me, and you already got Steve. He's already back. It looks like he's trying to break P4.
I will do it as well. Has to be careful, though, because he's about to be caught by these players. Maybe not. He actually thinks better of it. Goes for the kill versus Runner. Thinks, hey, I haven't spotted anybody's back, so I'll just turn around to see if I can get anybody from the front. Unfortunately, he will be limited in the amount of damage that he can do. Mistaken will quickly regain control of the A zone. For Ultra EU, it's about regaining control back in your favor. Beans on the flank could well do something. Those premature shots will not help, and he actually won't get any kills off the back of it as well. Nice turn on there coming in from Sean. Mistaken will be feeling pretty confident about this one. Can Ultra find their way back in, though? That's the question. Gizmo trying to find his way in. He gets shut down as well, and I think that might well be it for Ultra. Maybe they send a couple more players, but especially as Runner has control of this docks area, it's going to be really hard to retake control of A now.
Yeah, it really will. And you just don't want to throw more lives away as well. I mean, it's 23v19. The A zone will be converted. There's no reason to throw more lives away at this. I mean, you're really going for broken, just hoping that you can find these rotational battles, which luckily enough, Gizmo does find 2, works their way up to 11-7 to match teammate of Stevo. But even more so than that, that was a very slippery slope that Ultra EU were currently playing with. Luckily enough for them, able to bounce back. Furious will find 2. That's immediate ring control to speak of. They're keeping players at bay over by top green, where Gizmo's watching this very long angle over towards the cliff path where they will gun Sean. And Mistaken Esports, I mean, they're forced to wait for numbers. They're forced to almost really think about how they can try to break this. And it looks like they want to go for ring control first and foremost. You've got 3 players looking at that, trying to get themselves across top LST. You're running into the line of sight of Gizmo.
It doesn't really matter for Mistaken, though, does it? Snake picks up 2 kills, so Mistaken clearing all of these players, and they might actually have a shot here over towards B, but they need a couple more kills, realistically, to actually gain control of this point. Beans is going to be the first player they do need to deal with. Ultra EU are kind of shacked up towards green. If Bean falls, I do kind of worry that Ultra might not be able to retake this point, but Beans is going to win that first engagement regardless. The trades starting to come on through, mostly in favor of Ultra EU. Snake is the last remaining presence, and now he needs to hold off these players. He needs to draw up some time here for the rest of his team to find their way on through. Snake does not do that. Runner, he's going to fall as well. Ultra EU, they've regained control of the point with 35 seconds left on the clock.
And now Sean needs to go big. Sean is the player that's pushed all the way towards the back. Gizmo had some sort of an understanding. A snap comes through from Sean. The damage is there, but Bean still wins the gunfight. And that would have been massive if they were able to find continuous pressure going forward. Now desperation is starting to sink on in for Mistaken Esports. They need to fly going forward. Beans will claim their own life somehow, some way. But even more so than that, it's going to speak volumes that Mistaken Esports, you need to have a lot of individual moments to be able to break inside of this zone. Gizmo will find the first. That's going to be Johnny W inside the zone. 10 seconds remaining. You still have players that are close towards the zone, Brody.
The lives are really close as well. Mistaken can still technically force this down to lives. Even with 7.5 seconds left on the clock, you could still do this if you're Mistaken. You can't be losing gunfights like that, though. You can't be letting Furious slip on by because he will just sit there. He's not bothered as long as he has the cover of the rest of his Ultra teammates. And Beans wins the opening engagement against Johnny W. Now it's going to be Steve-O to take down Snake as well. Furious with a couple of kills. And that is the clear that Ultra EU needed. It was a shaky and tense affair on the point, but make no mistake, Ultra, they've cleared it. Mistaken send all the way back to the respawn point, and they are going to win round number 2.
In Ultra Academy EU, they have a 2-tick progression lead going in towards this upcoming offense. You know, one good offense away, obviously, would be able to put themselves in the driver's seat to be able to, or really solidify that round 5 defense. But they could also just close it out here because they did get, well, pretty damn close to be able to win out that offense through 2 different formats as well. But even more so than that, they are up 2-0 in the control as it currently stands. You can see there in the picture-in-picture, the Invincibles able to continue to work on the strides that you and I have both continuously talked about. Yeah, you dropped Journey, you brought in Secret. That doesn't mean you're any better at Kabuto Control, at least showcasing in the round robin.
At Kabuto Control, it's one mean mother, isn't it? Ultra EU 2-0 up in this one. They can really need to win this round. And, well, that's not going to help. The opening gunfights will not go their way. They've fortunately still got Johnny W over towards BA, and that's likely where the majority of the action is going down. Right now, they're on Robber Runner to see if he can win this 1-versus-1 against Beans. Beans is, of course, probably not going to take that directly. Just going to try and waste some time with the rest of his team. Assault on towards A. It's a good opener here for Furious, but you need more than that to take control of the LST. A second kill would be nice, and he will get it now. The support of the rest of the Ultra EU side is here. They are ready to start taking A. It is a little bit more delayed than it was last time around. You got to remember round number 1, it was pretty clean. This time, they've had to fight tooth and nail for it, but the kills are going their way.
Oh, man, and Steve was just going on an absolute rampage. Again, the A-Zone hasn't even seen a first tick of progression. Ultra Academy EU, they want to do this by outpacing their opponents. Steve-O continuously going massive, won't be able to build up closer towards those streaks. Of course, will be traded out, but the pressure is absolutely there. I mean, Gizmo, he's just kicking his feet up over here. He's having himself a laugh because his teammates are just finding all of the kills. Second tick of progress is slowly being worked up. You got Sean over by the concrete stairs trying to go massive, but where Steve-O fell off, Furious is back here picking things up. 1 kill away from getting themselves that glide bomb. Might actually be a spectator glitch. They are on kill number 8 in a row. There will be that glide bomb in their back pocket. Third tick of progress being worked up. Beans is there to collect off of that last tick progression. An 8 life lead, speaking of Ultra Academy EU. It's looking all but disastrous for Mistaken Esports as the glide bomb comes in.
Yeah, I was about to ask, when does this glide bomb actually come in? Do you kind of use this immediately to try and swing on the progression you just earned from that A capture, or do you kind of wait? But yeah, it's going to be the former. The kills coming through from the ring as well. This is huge now from Ultra Academy EU. Now they have to follow up maybe with one more wave of kills to retake this point, but it isn't actually going to be. And look, Mistaken, they're down by quite a few lives here in this one. There's also 60 seconds left, so the likelihood of this not going down to lives is pretty low at this point. Mistaken would have to be rock solid for the remainder of this round. But still, you take every silver lining you can get if you're Mistaken Esports. That glide bomb is out of the way now. For Ultra Academy EU, though, just 5 more kills. This round is done. You're into the hard point.
One more respawn remaining for Mistaken Esports. Good luck. Have fun, because you got to get on that B zone. You got to stop that clock from dwindling all the way down. Now, realistically, this is still technically doable if you can at least hold them at bay, but you're going to get swarmed here in a moment of time. Sean already throws some bullets. Their position is more than known. The truck will explode. It is a 3v11. If you can tell by the canter of my voice, this is not looking doable anymore so for Mistaken Esports as they just lose all of the gunfights. Ultra Academy EU, my word on this Kabuto Control, just commanding to say the least. Able to at least bounce back from that 9-point loss they had on that Bokaj hardpoint. Will now take the swing map mode combo, the Kabuto Control, take a 2-1 lead in the series.
That was just a pretty good control, to be honest, from Ultra Academy. Yeah, I've definitely seen worse controls on Kabuto. But obviously, you know, generally speaking, when these kind of things happen, you know, 3-0, sometimes it's a case of you just won the offensive round between rounds number 1 and 3. That wasn't the case there for Ultra Academy EU. They take rounds number 1 and, well, all 3 beginning rounds, 2 of them defensive rounds, brilliantly done, or 2 of them offensive rounds, sorry. Brilliantly done from Ultra Academy EU. And that's a dominant show. And I think going into the hard point, of course, they didn't start the series in the best manner. Now I think they've really found their feet here versus that side. So starting to look a lot better, starting to look more of what we expect from Ultra Academy EU there. And of course, you know, I think one of the things we've spoken about before in regards to what makes kind of a championship caliber team here in challenges, right? It's just something that we bring up quite a lot is a team that any player on the roster can go off at any moment, and we
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen. And we saw what multiple streaks there coming out from pretty much all of the players. Furious towards the end was the one that finally managed to actually get a kill streak to his name, and that was super beneficial in that final round.
Yeah, I mean, the glide bomb is obviously very helpful when it comes down to continuously laying on the pressure. I don't even think they really needed it because even through the opening rip, I mean, it was like a 5-for-1 trade or something absurd like that. Just Ultra Academy U continuously showing that they can outpace their opponents if mistaken. A little bit shaky in that Bokash hardpoint as it may end up being. It was very, very close and competitive, but ever since that Berlin Search and Destroy, you have awoken the beast that is Ultra Academy EU. Very electric players nonetheless. Here is map number 4, a Kabuto hardpoint between Rocker Academy and the Invincibles. And Rocker Academy, historically on Kabuto Hardpoint, definitely had themselves a lot more of a fun time comparatively to Kabuto Control, as you just previously saw, but this is going to be quite alarming for the Invincibles, which, again, they love to be able to find a lot of pressure off of their SMGs alone. So this is going to be very interesting to be able to see how the AAAR setup will look like when it comes down to the proper hardpoints to be able to pull out such a setup.
And Rocker Academy here, over on this hard point. I mean, look, they're a hard point team through and through, so I don't think it really matters what map they're playing. So wouldn't be surprised if they have a good map here, but the Invincibles starting to come back into this game. At least as I say it, kills start coming through for Rocker Academy. They're able to clear off the Invincible players. Back and forth we go onto this one, and I think for Rocker Academy, the general idea at the moment even with 40 seconds left in this hardpoint, make sure that you keep the right side of the map. That's why you're seeing such caution coming out from Metals over here towards the anti-air gun, but back towards the LST gunfights we go. The Invincibles actually going to win enough here to take control of the ship, but keep an eye on Metals. In he comes for kill number 6. He will not get it, and the Invincibles going to hold on for now.
Still good time to be battling over when you're thinking about this for the Invincibles. It could be really good time to be able to soak up, knowing that you have to also battle for the spawns, and that's going to force Scrap to immediately turn around, knowing that there's still one player trying to finesse for Scrap time. That's Real inside of bottom LST. Now, there is some help over here, but Real is playing their life wonderfully off-screen currently, but what's happening over here by P3, the two players for the Invincibles were able to slow roll their way across the beachfront and kind of got in for the initial time. You would almost assume that this has to be broken. This has to be met by some sort of resistance from Rocker Academy, who do hold the closer spawns. It will finally come all the way through, but they won't be able to get ring control, which doesn't mean that the time can be held up so easily for Rocker Academy.
The Invincibles, can you take this hard point right about now, at least to try and bat Rocker Academy away towards that jungle side? But these kills most certainly going Rocker Academy's way for now. Nice nade coming in from Lucky to finish off Nile, but the Invincibles have actually kept Rocker Academy out. As I say it, Lucky able to take down Grad, and it is Rocker Academy back in control of this hardpoint. Perhaps one more player that could do something about this from the Invincible side would be Rafi, but he is swiftly shut down. So the majority of time there for Rocker Academy will be going their way off the back of that hardpoint. We move over towards the rotation, and look, Sukri's sitting here inside the Radio Shack. He thinks he hasn't been sussed out. I've got a feeling by the way the aim is coming through from Nolston that they know that he is here. It's about whether he can survive, and he almost does, to be fair. That's a sneaky play.
They would have gone away with a 2 awarding for those Mendeling kids and those dang name tags that the Invincibles were at least counting. But look at the spawn coming through. Sukri actually ends up spawning inside the beachfront. And that's all thanks to the forward at least hold that the Invincibles were looking at from the beach push that did come through. Alpha Sukri holding inside of that Radio Shack. The Rocker Academy will be in for the initial time. And this is such a devastating look of things when you're considering the odds for the Invincibles. You cannot allow Rocker Academy to get set up shop inside of P4. You might not even have an option going forward. Look at the line of scrimmage. The next point of contact is going to be all the way over by top LSC, where Metals is gunning you at 11 and 7. You have to concede this now if you are the Invincibles. You're down by about 80 points going in towards P5, knowing that they have to concede the back 12 of P4.
Big rotation coming through from the Invincibles. I think they just lost what is already a huge rotation, generally speaking, anyway, right? You've just allowed Rocker Academy to string together kills 3 and 4, and that is never a good sign on Gabutu here for the Invincibles, so they need to hold on this one. They need to hold control of the LST ship. That will most certainly help them in that affair. For Grad, has a couple of important gunfights to win here. He's able to win the first versus Sukri. Over towards the backside, though. Those gunfights starting to go down in Rocker Academy's favor. You're starting to see the kill feed, and you're getting worried if you're an Invincibles fan. Nolson plays a little bit close there. I believe it was with Real. He will end up surviving the engagement, and Rocker Academy now starting to get back into this hard point. There you go. They're into the time. They don't even give the Invincibles 30 seconds of it before they break on through. So Rocker Academy very happy with this break.
Oh, I don't know why you wouldn't be. Again, you're just really leaning on towards this leader's advantage that Rocker Academy have it, and they can continuously just go absolutely rogue across the entirety of the map. And well, there's a little bit of a lobby crash that ended up coming through. And again, you're just considering the odds. We don't know what's going to end up happening. We're not admins. We're just pretty faces with nice voices that end up casting over top of the gameplay. But even more so than that, Rocker Academy, there's almost the same thing of what we were witnessing versus the Invincibles on that Berlin hardpoint. Although it was 250 to 209 as far as that scoreline is concerned, continuously outpacing. It's just exemplified even more so on a map like Gavutu, where rotations are so much more favorable for the team that obviously can work their way in for those 35, 40-second holds, because there's only so much opportunity when you're thinking about re-breaking inside of hard points like P3 or P4. It's either you are working for those close spawns, you get numbers to be able to hold from the front, and you keep the spawn trap going, or you're just completely conceding it. You're chalking it, and you're going in towards to be able to maybe get a stronghold, which is what the Invincibles were looking like going in towards P5. But again, this Rocker Academy roster are playing with a certain different kind of mojo today versus this Invincibles roster just completely running over their adversaries of the Invincibles on that Kavutu hardpoint from what we saw.
Yeah, I think it comes down to leader's advantage. Again, I know we talk about it quite a lot, but in terms of Gavutu, when you have a massive lead like that, I mean, look, obviously we don't know what's going to happen with the remainder of that map. But I think if that would have continued as it is, it would have been a very hard one for the Invincibles to actually bring back. You have to really, really clutch up. And to be fair, it's not like they're incapable of it. We've seen them do it in the past, but against Rocker Academy, one of the most potent teams in hardpoint across season 1 and season 2. That's going to be a tough one to pull off. So we'll keep you guys updated with what is happening with that when we know. I believe we've got more matches around the grounds to go to, though, to see what's going on. I'm just going to check our sheet real quick to show, to have a little look as to what is going on and give everybody updates in terms of the scorelines and such. I think War and Dizzy, Dizzy's Rascals, which is a very creative name for that team. Currently 2-0 to Team War. And if you guys want to watch that one, you can do so over at youtube.com/COD Challengers. The wonderful Ton and Bryce are casting that right about now. Beyond that, of course, Ultra EU have 3-0, or no, sorry, they're into the Kavutu hardpoint against Mistaken. Unsure how that one is going to finish up. And then, of course, Dos Tontos Emideo going up against Cilio Signs. Apparently, that one's just getting into the Berlin control. So we don't know where that one is, and we'll try and get into the games when we can. Sure, we'll have some games soon. But regardless, before we get there, though, we're going to go to a quick break so we can get some water, get some tea and biscuits if you're over here in the UK. We're back with more Call of Duty in just a second. Back in a sec, guys. We won't be back. We'll just stay here. It's okay. Welcome back, everybody, here to the broadcast for Call of Duty Challenger Season 3, brought to you by Clutch. Mistaken versus Ultra EU, about to get into the Gavutu Hardpoint. Ultra 2-1 up over the Mistaken roster. Of course, though, Andy, map number 1, it did go the way of Mistaken, so this might well be a game number 5 if Mistaken are able to pull off the same performance here.
Hey, it's going to be quite interesting, isn't it? Because Mistaken Esports, they can at least lean on the backbone that one of their most cracked out players is Snake. And what does he run? Mostly the AR. But Sean trying to make a quick little engagement coming through from them is at least go start off on a 4 spree. Johnny W starting off on a 4 spree as well. How influential this will be able to get themselves not only ring control, but also at least looking at a forward rotation all the way in towards the back. Johnny W's back here, and Ultra Academy EU, I mean, they have no idea of this player's location, while you're also looking at Sean trying to work up some top LSD control as well.
Yeah, Sean is all on his own here. There's no chance you're getting out. That's like the hardest jungle run challenge in the world, but he will survive. Or at least that Ultra Academy, sorry, will take him down. And now for a Mistaken Esports, you kind of need Johnny W to get these early streaks. Would be nice, especially if you hold control of this side of the map. So we'll keep an eye on Johnny W to see whether he can earn them. Mistaken trying to find their way on through. There's the first kill. Can he get the second? Would be nice for Mistaken here in the situation, but around him, the rest of his teammates starting to falter. So Johnny W finds himself, an island. He will fall. Ultra Academy EU, they survived that first wave of kills and pivotably take down Johnny W before the glide bomb can be earned.
Yeah, and that's what's mostly massive, right? Being able to take down Johnny W before they are able to actually get themselves that glide bomb is more influential than you would truly think. I mean, Johnny W did inevitably make the play, and admittedly, it did take a long time, and they did have to give up what felt like about 20 seconds, but off of a back P1, very strong P1, I should say, from Mistaken Esports, you can really make that play happen. Being able to get those back jungle spawns, making sure that they can remanifest themselves coming out from bottom cage to be able to break back inside P2, and now you're looking at a very solidified P3 spawn for Mistaken Esports, but hold that phone because Ultra Academy, they already got themselves ring control. They're already across the beachfront. It just comes down to be able to go big. It's about a 2v3 what it's about to be. A teammate from Snake on a Sean, well, that only helps your odds if you're Ultra Academy EU fan.
Oh, and Gizmo opens up with that blood as well. So nicely done here for Ultra EU to try and survive and hold on towards this hard point. Mistaken, note, they're spawning in towards the back line. They technically have the natural advantage on this hard point off the back of that. So Beans has to go huge here. Can he survive? No, he can't. Nicely landed laid from a runner who will take him out of the equation. And Mistaken Esports will now get control of the next hard point. But look at that route we just saw, by the way, by Johnny W. With 20 seconds left, Ultra EU are going to apply a ton of pressure onto that hard point to try and keep Mistaken at bay. Little do they know that Johnny W has just snuck his way in from behind and should influence these spawns in just a second.
Yeah, look where Gizmo just spawned all the way down by P5. That's going to be immediately conveyed, and that's going to force Devos to be able to turn all the way around, but you do have squad spawns coming through. Sean is in for P4 at least immediately, but still, you have to deal with Johnny W in the back, who ran the route yet again. If from P1 going in towards P2 was as influential for Mistaken Esports, this one's going to be just as crucial. Ultra Academy EU, though, they have numbers they can very much so break from the front with the numbers that are here, but off-screen, Runner finds 3, Sean for the 4th. An influential rotation and re-break comes through for Mistaken Esports to solidify a handful of more seconds here on 4.
A massive moment in this game. That is time that Ultra EU did not want to give away, and I don't think they have really much choice in the matter. If you go too heavy on this one, you will find yourselves at the mercy of a negative rotation coming in from Mistaken Esports. So they have to be careful here that they don't go too heavy on this one. But Ultra, they're going to go for it anyway. Here come the kills on through. Sean will end up falling. And there you can kind of actually see why they did go for that one. Mistaken going to continue to spawn up towards the beach line. They can do this relatively unpunished. Stevo, the last remaining player here, and he continues to shred. 4th in a row now for Vortex. Will not survive the 5th engagement, but Mistaken now have a bit of a marathon to go before they get towards the docks hardpoint. Ultra, can they hold on for a full 60 here? It would put them right back into this game. Mistaken trying to find their way on through. Sean, can he make his way across the docks? Yes, he can. Mostly unscathed. Only able to pick up 1, but there are still Mistaken players around here. It is now just up to Runner. Just waste some time if you can, but he has dealt with an Ultra EU. They weather the storm.
And this is a big 30 seconds to be battling over, if not soak up if you are Ultra Academy EU. You just have to hope that you can somehow find these players top LST, which Beans absolutely will gun Johnny W from that top LST control. This is a big 20 seconds. Again, this should just about even up the game going in towards the second set of rotations. But when it comes down towards P1, we've seen so many teams get so much time off of a P2 rotation as Snake again will piece together another handful of kills for Mistaken. Sean finessing for scrap time. This will be a dagger in the side for Ultra Academy EU. It's just about 3 seconds, but even more so than that, Ultra Academy EU cannot hold their numbers to try to break inside P1 early.
Mistaken looking to get this time early on. Runner will pick up 1 kill. So for Ultra EU, you're spawning over towards that jungle side. You're trying to get on through. Runner, 1v1 against Gizmo. Just trying to waste some time here while the rest of the Ultra EU squad finds its way over towards the hard point. But as we say it, the garrison has arrived for Mistaken as well. These gunfights really starting to go in Mistaken's favor now. They're keeping Ultra EU out of the hard point. Runner, 3 in a row now here for this AR player. Looking for a 4th. He will get it. Sean with another one as well. And Mistaken really starting to put together some kills here in this one. This is full control over the ring for Mistaken Esports. It puts a solid amount of distance between themselves and Ultra EU.
Yeah, and it'll continue to grow, but the one alarming thing for Mistaken Esports that they do not have from that first set of rotations was Johnny W going on a massive flank on the backside of P3, but I don't think it's going to really matter. Sean actually spawns on the backside of the jungle path, and Ultra Academy, unbeknownst to them, if they are more or less adept at understanding from those forward jungle positions that Furious was currently holding, that's actually going to force one player to spawn all the way in. That's Stevo. They're going to look for concrete control, but that doesn't mean that the backside is clear. On the backside of Cage, you still have Johnny W over here. Beans may find a 2-piece, but you have to deal with all these players. You cannot allow Mistaken to break once again.
He might well do so. Those kills starting to come on through. This was such a wonderful moment, I think, for Ultra EU in the grand scheme of things, right? They're on the better side of the map for that inevitable next rotation, but things just are not going their way in this moment. Mistaken Esports, they've broken on through the LST shift. They're really starting to get all of this time now. Runner up top, providing the support in gunfights, keeping Ultra EU at bay. Just one more player now. Can Snake win this 1v1 for the last 15 seconds? Yes, he can. And Mistaken, not only do they win all of these gunfights, they push through the LST, they flip the spawns away from Ultra EU, and they deal with that first strength. This is a perfect moment in the game for Mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, this is a symphony of a Gabutsu hardpoint if I've ever seen one for Mistaken Esports. They're just continuously getting away with highway robbery from all these different routes, being able to find themselves influential gunfights to enforce rotations. But Ultra Academy, again, they have to break. Gizmo coming away from London Royal Ravens through major #1, the #1 breaking hardpoint team across all of CDL teams. Needs to bring a little bit of that magic here as Ultra Academy. You are at least finding success of breaking towards the front, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're safe from all the different nades and the line of sights that Mistaken Esports are currently holding. You got to win the gunfights, which Beans will find 3 in this life. In this up top ring position is overwatching Gizmo inside the hardpoint itself. A crucial turn of events coming through from Ultra EU here on 3.
Yeah, this is yet another opportunity now for Ultra EU to get back into this game. Beans! Goodness me, you can't be doing that, my friend. 6 in a row. One more kill, a glide bomb will be earned, and we know how effective those things can be on Gavutu. So for Ultra EU, again, you mentioned it, Andy, a crucial moment here in the game. They get the majority time at the back of this beach hardpoint, but they need to not have happen what happened on the last rotation here from Mistaken. They filtered a player through in the back, and they got caught off guard. But there is the 7th from Beans. This glide bomb coming straight on through. I think the call must have come through here that Mistaken put Ultra in a bit of an awkward situation. They want a little bit more breathing room. That glide bomb will give it to them. Mistaken still 40 to 50 points in the lead here over Ultra, and they can fight this from the front.
Yeah, and they don't fully understand that Beans is still playing from top rank position, so even still finding 1 plus the 1 that they found with the glide bomb going on a total of a 9 spree is influential to say the least. Ultra Academy EU have done damn near what feels impossible, and they're turning scrap into initial from 3 all the way over towards 4. Not to mention how they're about to be walking away with about 40 points on P4 itself. As Beans finds themselves yet another 2-piece. Gizmo will be there to clean up the other 2 as well. And now they can fly out from the P4 spawns. Look for immediate recontrol. They're unable to get past the jungle path that's currently being held by Snake. And now you have the read if you are Mistaken Esports. These last few players are top ring. It's just about locking away with a few of these gunfights. 15 seconds separate these 2 teams, Brody. And Ultra Academy EU, they're still spawning it over by 4.
Huge kills against Furious and Vortex there for Mistaken. They make sure those players who are looking to rotate are shut down. There is one more to be dealt with, and it is Beans, who is in from behind, looking for the kill. He actually gets shut down by Johnny W. So now these players have to approach this from the LST ship. That is not going to work, at least as long as Mistaken hold them off at bay. Just one more kill now. Vortex, the team leader for this Ultra EU roster, has to go huge. He has been shut down. 14 seconds now is all that Mistaken Esports require to send this one to a game number 5. Sean watching the crosses shut down. Can anybody from Ultra get on through? Gizmo with a team nade. Just one more player. It's Vortex. He ends up falling. Just one more second mistake, and surely somebody jump on the point for heaven's sake to find it. Beans, he's going to try and hold on. Oh, Beans with 3 kills. He sends this towards the next hard point. Surely not. Beans, what is going on?
Another handful of kills coming through. 1 second are all mistaken need, and they're spawning all the way in the backside of P3 where Furious is able to watch it. Johnny W with the nade finds 2. Now it's coming down to Vortex to be able to clean up the scraps where their teammates left off. The gunfights through the middle of the map will be good. For Mistaken Esports, they will find the last kill required. Good heavens, Beans put on a little bit of a spectacle of a show to make this as close as it was. It was about an 80-point differential going in towards that another set of hard points from 3 all the way over towards 4. Beans goes massive, and here's the play of the game. Again, the best play from this hard point. It damn near beckoned that Ultra Academy U might be able to at least bounce back from such a steep deficit, but at Leader's advantage, where you just need that 1 second, one good break, one Johnny W nade aside, was able to be the final catalyst required for them to be able to force out a map number 5.
That's why Beans, by the way, he finished Season 2 with a 1.2 KD in total.
Yeah, 70% true engagement success rate, too.
He's a pretty good hardpoint player, and I think he just showed us exactly why there, especially on a map such as Bluetooth, that will suit him. So, Rocker Academy now versus the Invincibles. They are going to win that map number 4, and they're going to be winning the series 3-1. Just to explain why the map did end there at 100 points for Rocker Academy. Of course, before the reset, they already had, I think it was 150 points was the total which they managed to reach. Therefore, off the back of the reset, I think both teams effectively agreed that Rocker Academy would only need 100 points to close out the game. That is exactly what they are going to do. So 3-1 victory for Rocker Academy. A good start to Season 3 of Challengers Elite here in Europe. I've got to go back to it, Andy. Game 5 between Ultra Academy and you and Mistaken. This is, I've got to say, it's a massive shock, isn't it? Because Mistaken Esports, they come into Season 3 as the underdog, the dark horse roster by the very definition of the term. And they're forcing Ultra Academy EU to a game number 5 in the very first matchup.
It is, but it is, and I'll play devil's advocate here again. Something that we were talking about at the top of the broadcast, both you and I, even in the digital green room, Brody, is one of those things for Mistaken Esports just love to outpace their opponents. They are a hardpoint team, which isn't exactly something that we constantly do end up saying, besides the fact of Rocker Academy, even Vengeance going back towards Season 2, now known as Team War, are some of the best hardpoint teams that we do have here in Challengers Elite of Europe. But even more so than that, Mistaken Esports as a core 4, something that both you and I were able to recognize coming away from Season 3 of the Elite qualifiers, is that this Mistaken Esports roster, they love to outpace their opponents, and they're kind of exploiting one simple fact. Again, we only got to see so much of the Bokash hardpoint, but it was still some semblance of a lead that Ultra Academy EU did have when we did have the picture-in-picture ahead of us, and something that was also able to at least be exemplified again from the Gavutu hardpoint is that they love to outpace their opponents, but they're also exploiting that Ultra Academy EU. They aren't necessarily as comfortable with one another. I know that Gizmo is a top 5 player from Cold War. They are obviously a substitute player and did have a lot of time spent on London Royal Ravens as a pro player just this season. But even more so than that, the practice, the trust is all there. Mistaken have been playing together what feels like for about a month and a half at this point, ever since I want to say like halfway through Challengers Elite Season 2. These 4 players did end up at least coming together, barring Minnesota Open when Sean did end up playing with the Invincibles. But even more so than that, it's just one of those things that they are clearly a lot more comfortable with their setups. They're exploiting these routes continuously, and they're catching Ultra Academy EU off guard where their flanks aren't being watched. Johnny W was finding themselves a lot of good routes to be able to influence spawns, being able to break inside for a lot of good time. And it's forcing Ultra Academy EU to be able to go for broke and to be able to have themselves these very big individualistic moments that, barring if Beans doesn't go on that 9 spree from 3 over towards 4, that very much so could have closed over on P4, but they get that 9 spree, they get the glide bomb to be able to get called in, they hold the concrete stairs, and then they also find what was about like another 4 in a row over by P5 to extend over towards P1 again. That doesn't happen. Those individual moments don't happen. And Mistaken Esports, they very much so win that map 250 to 160, but even more so than that, I think that Mistaken Esports, the problem will still reside for itself, that you have to be able to win an objective-based game mode, and going over towards a Desert Siege, Search and Destroy, you better hope that you can at least bring at least a good sniper to be able to dissuade any sort of quick bomb plant antics, if not be able to dissuade just the overall knowledge that we have seen. These 4 players, albeit on different teams, again, Gizmo from London Royal Ravens, and even these 3 players for Ultra Academy EU on Desert Siege just last season, are quite adept at this map mode combination.
Yeah, and that's the key thing coming into this one, of course. So, we were looking at the veto process as it was kind of going down between these two rosters. And, as soon as Desert Siege was allowed through, we were like, hey, this is not a bad situation for Ultra Academy EU, of course,
Yeah.
because last season they finished this one 3-1. They were pretty good at Desert Siege. And I believe they were actually pretty good at Desert Siege at the Pro Am as well, albeit that was with Raffi instead of Gizmo. So maybe things change ever so slightly. But, nonetheless, I think they're pretty proficient at Desert Siege. This should be a positive, I think, coming into this one versus Mistaken. Of course, the other thing we have to note is that they did end up winning game number 2. That was Berlin Search and Destroy, and that was a 6-3 to Ultra Academy E. So things are looking up here for the game number 5, but still, props to Mistaken so far in the series to even send this to game number 5. I think is a stunner to kick off season 3. This is what we've come to expect, isn't it, Andy? It's Challengers Elite. This is just how things are. I have no doubt, by the way, as well, because we should probably say this is just the first match of the day. We've got another European match after this, and then after that, we've got a little break before we go into North America. North America, no idea what is going to happen. Like that is a crazy, crazy scene, especially considering today there's been roster changes already going down. Obviously, Proloot joining up with Optic Texas, and Major Maniac is now apparently replacing him on whatever it takes. It's crazy. There's some crazy stuff going down in North America. You guys do not want to miss that later on. But back to Europe, things have been pretty crazy so far between all of the teams in this bracket. I think an update on the main broadcast as well, unless my eyes deceive me.
They don't.
Yeah, Dizzy's Rascals, which is the former Doge Nation roster, which placed 4th last season, have now forced Team War, the current reigning champions in Europe, to a game number 5, which is exciting, I think, to say least.
Yeah, well, I was sitting here listening to your entire talk right there. I just peered over to my third monitor over here, and I saw the conclusion of that Kavutsu hardpoint, 250 to 164 versus Team War. Again, a map mode combination when you're thinking about it. Not to mention a hardpoint in general versus that Team War roster is very, very difficult to be able to define for yourself. Kavutsu was something that they were able to find continuous success with. The only time when they lost it was actually, funny enough, was actually against Ultra Academy EU in Season 2, where they lost 86 to 250. So we'll hop over. Dos Tontos en Medio versus Saleo Signs, the Spanish versus the French, going on through this Berlin hardpoint. You can obviously tell it's a 2-1 lead in the series for Dos Tontos en Medio, and they are looking to at least close it out here. Very adept hardpoint team, but even more so than that, Saleo Signs looking to prove themselves. They are nothing to scoff at when it comes to a Berlin hardpoint.
Yeah, I will say, though, I think the problem coming into this one is the respawn so far haven't exactly looked hot for the Saleo Signs roster, right? We talked about map number 1. The scoreline for that one, by the way, was 250 to 84 in favor of this Dos Tontos roster. So things are not looking good for the Saleo Signs roster. But hey, maybe this is their speciality, if you will, on the hardpoint. So looking over to this one, Dos Tontos going to kick things off with the majority, going to be into the scrap time here against Saleo Signs. We can already see those rotational battles going down towards the library for the next hard point. Herrick Boom able to pick up that first kill versus Nadox. They're still fighting with this one low deliver over towards the dock side. Has got himself deep set in towards this hard point. Super almost gets the turn on towards Cobra. It doesn't happen, but there is still a fight ongoing here. Neither team able to get a grip over the hard point. And finally, as I say it, Yakko and Journey combine 3, and Dos Tontos, they're in.
Yeah, being able to at least get that B lane control, making sure that they're at least keeping their flanks secured, and this is looking like a pretty good P2 setup when you're thinking of it for Dos Tontos, and even more so than that, they are able to at least force the hand for Saleo Signs that they almost have to go for a split affair, right? Do we try to reinforce over by P3? Well, you would probably at least assume that Nadox has to get back there, which they will, to be able to clean up Eric Boom, but it doesn't mean that spawns will be secure, because Journey is still over here by the crane. Big gunfight, actually. Nice shots from Nadox to be able to take down Journey. That means that the spawns might just be a little bit closer for Saleo Signs, but they had to give up the back scrap time, could not finesse for it as well. Those Tontos will have a very slight lead going in towards 3.
All right, well, very close hard one between Dos Tontos and Saleo Signs. Much closer than what we saw in map number 1. We'll keep you guys updated with what happens with that one, whether or not it goes to a game number 5. But in talking of game number 5, we've got Mistaken Esports going up against Ultra Academy EU. Of course, we will not be showing you the mini-map for this one, but Mistaken, they are going to take the first loss here in the game number 5.
And it's going to be increasingly difficult on this Desert Siege Search and Destroy when you're considering all the different deficits, not only for Mistaken Esports to be able to take a Search and Destroy where they love to outpace their opponents. You're almost like going to have to really force their hand. And how do you deal with aggression, especially on a map like Desert Siege Search and Destroy? Well, a couple automatons, Car 98K watching at least one lane, stuns, nades through University. That'll catch a lot of aggressive players off guard as at first round Furious was able to find 3. And I believe this automaton Beans, the known sniper, will find first blood on the Snake.
That's the problem, isn't it, for Mistaken? That's the sniper you're going to have to be careful about, but you're also going to have to be careful about Runner and Sean if you're on the Ultra Academy EU side. They're going to fight back hard in this one. 2 for 2 we go as Furious to take down Sean. Be careful of the trade potentially coming on through, but I think the players are a little bit far away. The Runner's actually going to run right over him, but Furious has spotted him out. This should be an easy kill coming in for Furious, and there it is. Furious on 5 in a row, by the way. Keep an eye on him moving forward in this search and destroy. Johnny W, though. 1 versus 2 for the Pigeon. Can he get it done?
A Car 98K, and he has to rely on the Rat Pistol. Bean still holds that bomb inside of the BS&D, and Johnny W, I mean, he's just flying throughout the entirety of this map. I mean, he breaks through one door. That's going to be immediate information. Going to break back over towards his AS&D site. And Johnny W has essentially just ran an entire mile, a full-on lap, around Desert Siege, which does not take a small amount of time, but the moment that they start to poke down from these stairs, they will get gunned. I believe that was Furious that was able to find that kill, putting themselves on 6 in a row, going in towards round number 3.
Furious is just so potent in the search and destroy, isn't he? It's the problem you got to deal with, right? Furious, of course, coming into this Ultra EU roster not that long ago. Not that. It is a long time ago now, isn't it?
It feels like a decent amount of time ago.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, it was the end of season 1. Furious stepped out on that Originals roster to join this team, before they were picked up by Toronto Ultra as the Academy EU side. Very good at search and destroy, regardless of what team he is on. He'll be looking for a 7th to get the glide bomb. And look at this aggressive A kit on the defense here for Ultra Academy EU. They have bartered on the fact that Mistaken Esports will not be going towards B. Unfortunately, they were wrong.
Furious was trying to go for the bait and switch with Stevo, but Stevo needs to get activated in towards the back. Bomb being planted over by B. Again, you have to allocate 7.5 seconds. Beans will find the first on a Snake. Furious just godsend over towards that nade. Will maybe try to find a kill. JW will at least take down 1, but Furious will get the trade. That's a glide bomb achieved. 1v odd situation left alive for Runner, and just as quickly as the bomb got planted, Ultra Academy EU, they get the positional advantage. They find the gunfights. They find the trades. The retake of the BS&D site will be there in kind, not to mention how they have a glide bomb in the back pocket of Furious, who, again, Search and Destroy is their bread and butter. They love to be that instigator role. Typically with an SMG, they love to fish out those first bloods, but when you're playing with a player like Vortex, you almost have to assume that Vortex will be that standalone, that one SMG. If they are running a 1-2-1 setup, that one sniper, one SMG, 2 ARs, and Furious just knows their angles, knows their timings. Season 2 of the Elite Road, they walked away with 71.4% non-traded kill percentage in the search. That's a big number.
Thank you. I'm a struggle with numbers sometimes. So it's tough. Regardless, in this one, Ultra EU, how about a number for this? 2v2 we go. Trades galore at the beginning of this round. Furious still has not died, by the way. I hope I don't cast a curse him as I say that. Furious about... So there you go. I did cast a curse him. Snake going to take him down. Vortex 1v2. There's no... Stevo? Okay. That gunfight should have been significantly shorter than it was. I don't care whether Vortex gets both kills or whether he dies much quicker. That was painfully long.
And then he held down that trigger and he just did not let go. Just, I mean, just almost expecting to at least find the 1 gun kill, but did not at least snap on over towards the second. And either going to run out of bullets, he was going to find the 2 kills, or he was going to die. Well, one of 3 things was going to happen. It just ended up happening to be the latter, of course. Putting themselves on the board here, a big round to speak of for Mistaken Esports. You do not want to go down 0-4 versus anybody, more or less, versus Ultra Academy EU, who, again, hold that glide bomb in their back pocket, just as the aggression panned out to get the bomb planted over by B. They're trying to find the same amount of value over towards A. Gizmo, holding this angle, does get immediate shots on a Sean. Does that nade connect for the kill? Yeah, Gizmo for 2.
No, he's got a great arm there. Run that nade right at Sean's feet. We'll take him down. So 4v2 we go. And this is just such a tough position, I think, for Mistaken to find themselves in, right? They're now in a 1 versus 4. 2 versus 4. That alone would have been horrible. Snake is going to kind of take the head off Furious, though. The information will be enough for Ultra Academy EU. They'll be more than happy to come and run for that gunfight. So far, this search and destroy not been kind for Mistaken.
It's a little one-sided, doesn't it? And again, when it comes down to the timings, when it comes down to the overall knowledge, again, when you talk about some of the up-and-comers and the veterans, that is kind of what it feels like in this lobby as a whole, with the up-and-comers coming through from Mistaken and then Ultra Academy EU being the overall veterans. Search and Destroy has always been a virtue. We always end up saying that through many of the different rosters and teams and Call of Duty titles that Vortex has been playing on. And now they're backed up with Furious, who is up at 9-2. So holds his glide bomb, goes back towards his round 1 position. And it's just such a good read. Johnny W stood absolutely no chance.
Johnny W is just running out into the open. Thought he was in an action movie or something. Furious was like, mate, what are you doing? I'll take you down. No problem. Ultra EU starting this round very strong, and it'll only get stronger as well as the bomb will go down. They don't know about Snake's positioning, and that will most certainly work in his favor as he will now make this a 3 versus 3, but with 35 seconds left, we need something a little bit faster than this. If you're a Mistaken esports, you need to find a catalyst in the round. Maybe this is down to Sean, but you got to feel it. No, how does he get that gunfight and get away? Furious now brings the glide bomb in, and now Beans 1 versus 1 versus Runner. Beans just needs to defend this site, and he has worked this out perfectly. Runner did actually just see him there. Beans will now win this round, 1 versus 1-1. And yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize actually that player was in the glide bomb, so it makes perfect sense now that they didn't win that gunfight. But nonetheless, Ultra are going to take the round.
I was about to say, I mean, Furious immediately drops. I thought they were saving. Like, how does he lose the gunfight as he's not even like on his main screen calling in the glide bomb? Yeah, glide bomb gets called in, doesn't find the kill. It's immediate information though, and I don't think that Runner actually at least saw Beans that was up top on that patio just outside the university. Again, it's very tough to be able to fully tell again with the X-ray that we have at our disposal here with the Codcaster, but even more so than that, Beans playing that to a fine tune, 6-1 on a 3 spree. Looking to solidify this here with a 6-1. It's going to be that quick B plant that comes through from Mistaken, but again, they lose the first blood engagement. It's Gizmo again.
This search and destroy has been class from Ultra Academy, hasn't it? Almost every round going in their favor, but maybe Mistaken can fight back here in round number 7. Beans with the sniper rifle. He's going to be the real problem that you've got to deal with if you're Mistaken. I think Beans has actually just spotted out the rotation coming through from Johnny W. There it is, up in the air. Sean now left up 1 versus 2. For Ultra EU, you do have to find him. Sean is just sitting in there. Okay, there's the first kill. Does he get away? Beans with the sniper rifle. You got to imagine should be able to take him down. Sean's just going to toy with him. Left, right, around the wheel we go. Finally, Beans wins the 1v1. Does he have time for the defuse? I think he does.
Yeah,
he does. Yeah, the game is done. And Mistaken Esports, they make it pretty close. But game number 5 will be going the way of Ultra Academy EU. So they start pretty strong here in Elite Season 3. But moving over towards Dos Tontos and Soleo Signs, this is very close to be going on map number 5.
Yeah, it's starting to look that way, though. Inside of P1, though, Dos Tontos do at least hold the time for at least the meantime. But, I mean, they're being pinched. Soleo Signs, they're currently in 235 v 210. There's still time for them to close it out here.
Soleo Signs could do it. Can anybody from Dos Tontos come on through? It might be Eric Boom around the side. He's taking the long way around, and I think he gets punishes for that as well. Soleo Signs can win all the crucial gunfights inside the train station. Eric Boom's flank doesn't exactly work out, and Soleo Signs, they force a map number 5 here versus Dos Tontos, and this is not the way we expected this series to go, given how it started off.
No, truly not. Again, the map number 1, Victory Hardpoint, Dos Tontos won 51 to 84. And then the Berlins that then soon followed. I mean, Dos Tontos, they were able to shut out Soleo Signs as we typically would almost expect. Again, formerly Sukri's Bakery, but now the owner of said bakery has closed up their shop, has now joined Rocker Academy, and they became Dos Tontos along with the pickup for Journey. They're still very adept when it comes down to control on Berlin. They won 3-0. The Berlin Search and Destroy in favor of Soleo Signs 6-4. Which is going to be an interesting conversation. Again, we're walking in just as blind as you all at home that are watching this matchup along with us. We don't know what necessarily transpired on that Berlin Search and Destroy, but Soleo Signs were still able to win it within 2. And it's going to be continuously interesting because map number 5, Brody, is a Tuscan Search and Destroy. Does not necessarily play as 1-to-1 as Tuscan, as, you know, it's very tough to be able to say maps do typically play 1-to-1 versus another here on Vanguard. But even more so than that, you can still find a lot of value with SMG presence. You can still find value with sniper presence across that Ruins side. It's going to be interesting to be able to see who comes out on top of this. Quite the storyline in the upset, to say the least, if Soleo Signs do beat Dos Tontos on this round 1 matchup.
Right, absolutely, and it's kind of we talk about this, right? Dos Tontos. If you're ever going to have a map that's going to benefit you on Call of Duty Vanguard, it's going to be Tuscan because these guys now have 3 SMGs on the roster. Like Journey has just been gifted to them from the heavens for this exact situation. Now, that's not to say one of these players is likely going to the flex role. I imagine it's probably going to be Yakko, if anybody. Not too sure. I guess we'll find out for the remainder of the series. But nonetheless, Tuscan should favor Dos Tontos, but I don't want to count Soleo signs out. Of course, you're absolutely right to point out Berlin did go Soleo Science way. So, ooh, it's going to be an interesting game of 5. I just give you guys some updates as well from around the grounds. We go into kind of the analysis here of this potential game of 5. We're still waiting on what's going on Dizzy's Rascals versus Team War. I know you have that on your other monitor, Andy. Do you like have the score for that right now in the search and
Yeah,
destroy?
it's currently being played through round number 7. Timor leading on the Bocage search and destroy 4-2.
Oh, that's a close one. It'd be interesting to see it. Like, if Dizzy's Rascals win that, that's going to shake things up, I think, pretty early on. But War currently in lead on that one. Obviously, Ultra EU with the Game 5 victory versus Mistaken. So that is a pretty interesting affair. And then, of course, Rocker Academy versus Invincibles. That was done in 4. Rocker Academy winning out on the Gavutu Control. So basically, we're waiting on these final 2 matches now between Dos Tontos and Soleo Signs. And, of course, Dizzy's Rascals and Team War. But so far, things have been pretty spicy here in European Challengers Elite. We wouldn't expect anything less. Obviously, we do have a second set of matches coming up after this as well. So while we wait for this game number 5 to go underway, we're going to send it to a quick break when we return. We've got game number 5 here between Dos Tontos and Soleo Signs. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, here to the Call of Duty Challengers broadcast brought to you by Clutch for Challengers Elite Season 3. I'll level with you. We won't be here for long, if only because of the fact that game number 5 between Soleo Signs and Dos Tontos is being picked up by the main broadcast over at youtube.com/COD Challengers. You should be subscribed to that channel if you're not. Anyway, for everything Call of Duty Challenges, if you want to watch the remaining map in that best of 5, go check out that YouTube broadcast. On our end then, while we get everything set up between Rocker Academy and Team War, yes, that is going to be our matchup next. We're going to take an extended break. When we return, we're going to have that one. It is going to be a banger, so you guys don't want to miss it. Welcome back, everybody, here to the Call of Duty Challengers broadcast for Challengers Elite Season 3, brought to you by Clutch. We're showing you guys all the additional matches outside of the main broadcast, and we're getting to our second set of matches here of day number 1. We've got a great matchup to show you guys, frankly. Rocker Academy going up against Team War. This is the number 1 and number 2 team from Season 2. It's been a long while since that matchup happened, Andy, but nonetheless, the gravitas of this matchup is still felt here.
It's going to be interesting to say the least. Again, with Rocker Academy essentially looking for their justice, their vengeance, if you will, versus Team War. A little pun for all of you EU Challengers fans at home, but even more so than that, they are at least substituting in. Again, they drop Journey, they bring in Sukri, and they looked quite good. I will say that much versus Invincibles. Again, a nice little test early on to be able to see how Lucky does fare, picking up that SMG role. But Team War, I mean, they're coming off of a very battle-tested matchup. Map number 5 versus Dizzy's team, and they ended up winning out that Bocage Search and Destroy. I'm sure a lot of you ended up seeing on the mainstream 6-2. So battle-tested to say the least, but a big test early for these two juggernauts of EU challengers.
Yeah, I feel like this happens every season, right? With a number 1 and number 2 seed, for whatever reason, seem to face off early on. I think if you remember all the way back in like season 1, when Moneyform were a high seed going into that season, right? They faced off against the Rocker Academy team back then. I think maybe even before the Rocker, I can't even remember if they were even Rocker Academy at that point in time. Regardless, I remember it being kind of this much anticipated match at the start of season 1. We had something very similar at the start of season 2, and it seems like it's happening here again with season 3. Look, mate, let's start the conversation here with Team War. Obviously these guys, they've just come off that pro-am performance. I think they'll be a little bit saddened that they weren't able to go up further in the bracket than they ended up going. Of course, they finished out in the group stage 0-3. They took a couple of maps out of the way, I think, from teams. But I think they'll be frustrated with the way that went. One thing I will say though, Andy, about that pro-am is the fact that in their group they did actually have the 2 finalists. So it was a tough group to get out of in the end.
And even the maps that they did lose, I mean, you got to go back and just at least look at the score line, if not look at a little bit of that VOD on the CDL's YouTube page. That a lot of those matchups that Team War were going up against, even the likelihood of New York, LA, that they were incredibly close. Very competitive. Keep in mind you that Denza, Maple, Wardy, Wee Man are able to at least find themselves in similar situations of what we were looking at through the end of season 2 of Challengers Elite. Same thing to be said just as individuals, specifically going back to Challengers Elite season 1. Wee Man had so many clutches that I had to take off my socks just to count the amount of extra amount of times that Wee Man was finding themselves on these 3 sprees, finding very crucial gunfights to be able to influence Wardy's SMG presence that we have really known to almost expect from the young lad coming from EU.
Yeah, Team War. Look, they'll be coming off that event. They'll want to bounce back here in a season 3, and that's why this season will be so important to them. They want to kind of bring back-to-back victories to themselves for Challengers Elite, of course, being season 2 champions. But they do go up against the team that they faced in that grand final, Rocker Academy, a team that, look, I know I'm going to upset the fan base here, but I think it's fair to say this team has fallen from grace somewhat. These guys at the start of the season, they looked untouchable. They won 3 of the 4 opening cups. They went into season 1. Of course, they did come out on top. It wasn't without their road bumps along the way. Of course, as we said, they ended up losing, I think, that aforementioned matchup versus Moneyform, I think it was at the time, in the very first matchup of the season or something like that. It was a crazy turn of events, but nonetheless, they came out on top. Season 2, mate, that's where everything changed. They started to kind of slip away. They weren't as confident in their maps, it would seem. Minnesota, though, I think that was the turning point for this Rocker Academy roster, right? Coming into this. They faced what? Top 24? The team they got eliminated by was Destroy the Odds, which I don't think anybody expected to happen. I think they'll be unhappy with that. And certainly they were, because they made their roster change that you mentioned.
Yeah, and they're looking to make this roster change, ahead of, Toronto Ultras holding at least an open for a lot of amateur teams. The Rocker Academy want to have a little bit of a stronger showcasing than that. Again, missed out on the Pro-Am. That's probably the biggest frustration out of it all for Rocker Academy as a whole. And as you were talking about, dropping Journey, bringing in Sukri, again, changing up roles as well. You bring in Sukri to more or less fill out as the main AR for this team. You let Metals play the AR flex, third SMG, if you will. And then Lucky is replacing Journey more or less to be able to be that SMG duo to Real. Again, Real will be the main sub, but you do end up having Lucky picking up now that third AR is, of course, still their sniper. But even more so than that, again, going back to just dissect a little bit more from what we did see versus that matchup versus the Invincibles, I wouldn't necessarily say that they look disjointed. They obviously have been practicing a lot ever since coming back from the Minnesota Open. Again, the bounce back series as it may end up beating, looking pretty darn good for Rocker Academy. But even more so than that, it's about finding your own. It's about making sure that the pace is still there, that you can at least differentiate when you have to do play smart, because we did see them almost slip up just a little bit when they started to become a little bit outwitted on that Berlin Search and Destroy versus the Invincibles. You know that that's going to be there and more when it comes to this Team War roster, which again, Search and Destroy is much more of their bread and butter, that they simply cannot get overwhelmed trying to figure out how these four players do gel together. All of the practice almost amounts to here. Again, number one, number two team, as it may be just as namesakes alone here in Challengers Elite Season 3 for Europe, barring how Grand Finals did play out coming away from Challengers Elite Season 2.
Should be interesting for sure, of course. Going to this matchup, it should be noted as well, both Team War and Rocker Academy here, they are evenly matched in terms of what we expected out of them. I think that was the case during Season 2. These guys are both very good hardpoint teams, and that's going to make things super interesting coming into this matchup. The one thing I would say that gives Team War the edge on paper here is the fact that their control back in Season 2, if you remember, Anna, I think they lost like 1 control in total or something like that. They were insane control during the time. That is something that we should be looking at moving forward in the series. But I do want to talk about that roster change that you kind of mentioned there, right, between Rocker Academy and Dos Tontos, because we have just seen Dos Tontos. We should mention this, by the way, because we didn't get to show you guys the conclusion of that best of 5 versus Slayer Science. Tontos, they actually lost that game number 5. We were wondering how the roster change was going to affect both of these teams. For Rocker Academy, we don't really know too much yet to say. For Dos Tontos, maybe not the best situation to kick things off in Challengers Elite Season 3. But nonetheless, I think we're about to get into a match. It's a Tuscan something or rather. We'll get there eventually. But regardless, we've got some Call of Duty to shake. Don't worry about it. It's all good. That's all that matters.
That's map number 1, Rocker Academy versus Team War, Tuscan Hardpoint, Bokach, Search and Destroy, and then we'll round out a Gavutu Control. I'll lose my hair over about that pick and ban for map number 3 later on, I'm sure of it. But starting off on the favorite side will be Rocker Academy. Set Nade will be over there for Lucky. We'll get that block of mini-map there away here momentarily. But just because you start off on the favorite side doesn't mean you can inevitably win the 50-50. Team War very quick off the bounce to be able to at least give themselves some good gunfights to be able to contest for some time.
Team War here in control of the hardpoint for the last 30 seconds of time. They're on the better side of the minimap as well. This is an overzealous play coming out from Wardy, though. It works out perfectly. Able to pick up those first couple of kills versus Metals and Sukri. One more to be found as well. It's Lucky. Not a problem for Wardy off the start. And look, we've seen a slice of Wardy's gameplay to kick this one off. He's not done on this spree yet, by the way. Finally does get shut down there by Sukri. But that little 5 spree right there, Andy, about surmises what we've come to expect from Wardy, given what he did in Season 2.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Wardy, when you're thinking about it, look, I was singing this guy's praise, and for good reasons. You also got to see a lot of that in the Minnesota Open and even the Pro-Am as well. Wardy was the #1 player statistically coming out of Challengers Elite Season 2 with a 1.23 overall KD, and that also replicated quite wonderfully to 1.23 overall KD in the hardpoint with about a 69% true engagement success rate. 69% of the time, Wardy was getting into engagement. They were walking with either a kill or an assist. Good kill feed when you're thinking about it in the grander scheme of things for Team War, but it is Rocker Academy with the closest spawns for ahead of 2.
Oh, going to be Rocker Academy here early on. They want the last 25 seconds of time. And look at this rotation now coming through from Real. You will look to get those spawns towards New. These scrap battles going down. Rocker Academy looking to try and win them. I think for Maple and Wardy, they'll be happy that those gunfights will be going down in their favor. But ultimately here, it is going to be Rocker Academy who have control of the rotation. Real's going to try and push up towards the rooftops to keep these guys away from the hard point. And it's going to be Rocker Academy, able to touch on first. Real putting those first 2 shots in. He's about to face down a wave of War players. Real should be prepped for it, though. Has Metals in tow. Looking to take these players on out as the rest of the gunfights go down in mid-map. Team War unable to touch initially.
No, I mean, they won't be there initially, though. You can see what they're setting up, at least as far as the mini-map is concerned. You do have those close rooftop spawns if you are Rocker Academy, but this is not as influential as it was back in Season 1, where you were spawning all the way in the backside of the well, but the returning gunfights are at least good, and Rocker Academy are at least reading that Team War are starting to hit this from the fire alleyway. They're also pinching it from vines as well. Big kills to speak of for Rocker Academy. They will hold strong from the backside, the favorite side of the hardpoint as a whole, which is not the easiest thing to do. 20 seconds remaining. You know Team War might just concede the back end end of this. Maybe send a player to finesse for a little bit more of the scrap time will be Denza. They lose those gunfights, but even more importantly, player number 3 is Real. They found one crucial gunfight on the rotation that's going to force Team War to spawn over by the rooftops, and Rocker Academy might just won the rotation off that one kill.
And nice rotation once again from Rocker Academy. We just saw Team War able to apply quite a lot of pressure to Rocker Academy. Couldn't get quite a lot of time away from them, but nonetheless, this one might be more successful. You can see those 3 players starting to enter their crusade around the back line. Sukri looking to pick up that kill. Initial ones coming in from Wardy and Maple. It is going to be Warren for now. Metals has quite a lot to do here while the rest of his players are over towards that back tank area. He's even going to come and help out his teammate from afar. Wee Man does end up falling, but War far from done with this hard point just yet. Continuing to send the reinforcements towards the hill. It's Maple towards the back line now. There is one looking for the second. Cannot quite find it. So for Rocker Academy here, Real and Lucky going to combine for 3. They've dealt with a problem around the back line this last 20 seconds or so. So maybe Team War get this one more go, but I think Team War might put a little bit more effort into the rotation.
And as they should, too. I mean, you want to make sure that you're at least holding down this rotation, because that's now back-to-back rotations that Rocker Academy have been able to win and walking away with a lot of time of these two crucial hard points. And this is what I was wondering when we were going to see it. The M1928 coming out from Lucky, again, picking up that second SMG as it may be. Little Tommy gun action to speak of here for Lucky. They will be here first, but when you're thinking about the grander scheme of things here for Team War, they do have bottom maps control, and they are at least playing on that side of the map. Lucky turns, they will snap on Denza, will drop them where they stand. So have to deal with Wee Man down low, but still so far so good. 45 seconds still to battle over. Wardy finding that 2-piece with the nades means that Team War will hold the numbers here at 5.
Team War going to be continuing to hold on. Can that M1928 break on through for Rocker Academy? The answer seems to be no, at least initially. Team War going to win pretty much every single gunfight. Real going to break the curse, but it will only be momentary here as Wardy answers back with yet another kill of his own. Team War now going to continue to keep Rocker Academy at bay. I mean, they're going to continue to go for this. There's still 20 seconds left. That's quite a lot of time. Wardy, though, on 5 and 6 in a row, will get shut down short of the glide bomb. It's not a massive problem for Team War here, so they've already got another one. That is going to be Maple, currently 16 and 10 here in this game. Has that ready to go for later on. Those things, Andy, they are deadly here on Tuscan. We expect to see it very soon, but over towards the next set of rotations, Rocker Academy trying to hold on. Sukri is the only player here inside this hard point, and he is quickly swarmed.
Yeah, quickly swarmed indeed, and Real might be holding this pillar location. They need to continue to hold their life, because you saw Maple in towards the backside of Church just continue to finesse a whole lot of players. In Rocker Academy, they need to be aware of this. I mean, especially that Maple just found Sukri. Metals in that 1-for-1 position underneath fire. Is he able to find 2? That is a crucial 2-piece that Metals can speak of. That means that their teammates can start accessing over by P1 from the tree side, and even more so than that, it's a double-edged sword for Rocker Academy. You do not want Team War to get a lot of time off P1, but you also don't want to lose the rotation, lose those close spawns ahead of 2.
Yeah, this is not a bad position for Rocker Academy to find themselves in. They stay on this side of the map. They should be okay, even losing this 15 seconds of scrap time away towards Team War. That is a nice nade coming out from Wardy, though, to take down Lucky. That should open up a lane here for War to find themselves through that grass side. Real on front Church gets a little bit of bad timing. That'll give Wardy a bit of room to breathe towards that backline, and you can see this push starting to be put together. You've got to get past Lucky, though, the MVP of Season 1 here for the Rocker Academy side. He's got that signature automaton towards the backline, but what do you do if you're Team War? You use your glide bomb to break on through, and now an opening has presented itself. Team War now need to follow this up with more gunfights to try and break on through. You can't give up this time towards your opposition. Denza desperately searching for Real. Will get shut down, but it doesn't matter. War, they've got players in, but just like this, Animate, Rocker Academy, they're not giving up. They continue to send players towards the hard point.
Yeah, they still have 2 players that are back here as well. Close spawns to keep intact for Rocker Academy on the backside of Church. Team War will be spawning further out from the hard point. 20 seconds still to play over here on P2. Maybe, again, you send players to maybe try to finesse for some scrap time. They know that Maple is back here inside of Church, so they can't just full flood over towards the rotation. And that little bit of hesitation that just came through from Rocker Academy, do we try to finesse for some scrap time? Do we just try to win out the rotation? It's going to mean that the numbers are dwindled ahead of the hit over by 3, which means that Team War will hold those rooftop spawns right where Maple just spawned in. They're more than aware that Real is probably in a closer position to maybe try to battle for this, but this time around, much different than what the first set looked like. Team War will be in for the initial time here on 3, and they have themselves entrenched for this hard point.
You say that, though. Real was able to pick up that first blood on towards Denza. Nice nade, by the way, Maple. We saw that. Both the throw and then the execution as well. Maple continuing to tear Rocker Academy down at the moment, but they are not giving up. They continue to spawn over towards the ruin side of the map. Real is now in towards the hard point, has a few players to deal with, both on the fire side and from the rooftops as well. This Team War side will continue to filter in from that area of the map. Just 20 seconds left now. Both of these teams, sooner rather than later, will start to think about the rotation. Rocker Academy, I think at this point in the game, they don't really want to give up this 20 seconds. I don't know if they actually have that much choice, though.
No, I mean, you can just send metals. Maybe they try to contest for a little bit more time. It will end up being Real. Maybe try to hit it one last time. Maybe get some contested time. They come up absolutely flat with it, and that means that this P5 look at will be a little bit more open for Team War to start flooding all the way through. They have 3 players over here. They're looking not only for radio control, but they're also sending Wingman in towards the back. Sukri has to hold this angle, but they don't have the timing for it as well. Going in towards Search, though, Rocker Academy, they hold 2 players strong after losing Lucky by a nice nade that came through from Wardy. And now Wingman's all the way in towards the back. Catcher Sukri has one more player to look at. But these trades will not be good enough for Rocker Academy. They need a little bit more. 1v1 for the time, and it will be metals that clean things up with the wrap pistol, but the spawns have fled. Team War are closer towards this hard point with 30 seconds to play.
Metals on a full spree, by the way, as well. 3 more kills, and he'll have the glide bomb ready to go. War have already utilized theirs, and we don't know what's going to happen in the game. We'll be back in a second. There we go. Wardy now in the back line, looking to break on through with the rest of this War squad. There is just Metals to deal with, and Metals will be denied even a 5th kill here as this game, back and forth we go. 15 seconds now for Team War to grab. That will put them ever so slightly in the lead versus Rocker Academy. Check out a picture-in-picture, by the way. Mistaken versus Dos Tontos. Dos Tontos about to win map number 1, but Mistaken still on the hard point. We'll keep you guys updated with what's happening with that one. But back over towards the rotation. These battles going down. It is Rocker Academy who strike first. The Thompson is still effective, it would seem, but Metals doing it all with the MP40. It's 3 for Metals. Rocker Academy, they're in.
Yeah, they are in indeed, but you still gotta be worried about it. It's so many times that Denza or another player for Team War gets on the bottom side of maps. They find either a 2 or Denza for the 3rd. Now on a 4 spree, continue to building closer towards streaks. That break is so crucial. 30 seconds left over by P5. Team War are more than aware that Rocker Academy are spawning on the backside of Church. They are sinking their teeth into this hard point, Brody.
Every single second counts at this point in the game. Rocker Academy, they need to try and break on in for this last 20 seconds of time. Team War, they can take this if they want to. They also have to be very conscious of the fact that that rotation will be coming in very, very soon. Denza trying to zone these players off. Real and Lucky still want a piece of that hard point pie. We look over towards the rotation, though, and it's Rocker Academy who have won that initial wave of gunfights. Team War have quite the cushion between themselves and Rocker now. 30 seconds the difference between these two teams, and Team War, they look to execute a pinch. They've got Denza over towards the grass. He actually wins his 1v1 as well. Rocker Academy, they're going to be sent for a spin here. Can they win all of these gunfights? The trades seem to be in favor for them. Denza hops on out, though. Now just up to Maple, and Rocker Academy, they weather the storm for now.
40 seconds left to play inside of P1. They cannot close it out here. So Team War, they don't want to allow this 40 seconds to go up for free, but they want to make sure that they maintain the rotation going in towards 2. Could be their win condition going forward for the rest of this map. They're still sending players towards the middle of the map. That's Denza that's able to clean up one. Nice nade again coming through from Wardy. Real needs to go big inside of you and was only able to lock away with 1. Weeman at least there for the trade, and numbers are good for Team War to break back in for 1.
This isn't good enough, though. You don't break it. I wouldn't go for this if I'm Rocker Academy, and they're going to do it anyway. The time would be well nice. It would put them level with Team War. But the point here is about that rotation. Team War, they have it. They only need 18 seconds to finish out this game. That is really only 1 hold, given where Rocker Academy will likely spawn after the first wave of kills. So this has to be perfect from Rocker Academy. Opening gunfight for Sukri. Has his gun up for the second. That's so unfortunate. Those first wave of kills are coming through. Somebody from Rocker needs to slide them through right about now. Metals is that player. He loses his engagement. It's Team War across the board. Sukri, the new addition to this Rocker Academy lineup, needs to go huge. He can't get it done. Can anybody touch? The answer is no. Team War will strike first in this one.
Yeah, they certainly will. If that 20-second differential, you really feel like goes back to both those P5 hardpoints, truly, in between the first and the second rotation. Both times, Rocker Academy were able to win the initial gunfights, but it's this play right here during the second where Denza goes on this 4 spree, snaps for the 3rd. I don't even know how Metals doesn't find that trade to start, but even more so than that, Brody, it's one of those things for me personally that it did not only just happen in that second time for a very crucial break, it also came through on the first time, but it was Weeman that found the 3-piece, not Denza, that happened on the second time. back-to-back times where Rocker Academy win the initial gunfights on top P5, they don't have a player either bottom well or on the staircase is in the best contest spot going forward to have a submachine gun player waiting for one player from Team War to roll their way in from well up towards that staircase and to be able to at least get that trade. And 2 times over, one player slips the net for Team War. They come up, they find a 3-piece, and that 20-second differential might not even be a benefactor if Rocker Academy had been slightly a bit aware, have a little bit more awareness going in towards P5 for a second split.
It's crazy, isn't it? That's about what we expected from two of the best hardpoint teams in Season 2. Yeah, it's going to be Team War coming out on top there. Of course, technically speaking, statistically speaking, the better of those teams in hardpoint during Season 2. I think they were actually the best in the end. Maybe someone else picked them, but I'm pretty sure it was them that finished number 1 in hardpoint in the region. So they're going to strike first in this series. I can't believe it. Just what a close game to kick this one off. Things extremely close between the two teams. Next up in our series is going to be Bakaj Search and Destroy. Before we get there, though, I believe we can probably show stats to everyone at home for that game. We've kind of missed it today for everybody, but we're going to try and bring them to you now to show you exactly what happened in that one. One thing I do know, without even looking at the stats, Wardy had a game. I know that much.
Yeah, I think both SMGs, when you're really thinking about the grander scheme of things, both Wardy and Denza had themselves an absolute game. Here are some of those stats: 36 and 27, 27 non-traded kills with about 3,500 damage for Wardy. For only having 41 seconds for the hardpoint time, they still found 15 eliminations inside the hardpoint. That's just absurd within its own self. But I think what you're mostly looking at is that, again, this team just absolutely blossoms and they do flourish off of one another. The synergy of this team is absolutely sublime. The one thing that is a very big scare when you are looking at from everybody from top to bottom is Lucky, 17 and 34. I believe halfway through that hardpoint, you actually saw a slight little switch come through. You saw at least Lucky bringing out the Thompson, the M1928 for at least a little bit of time, but I think that Lucky then quickly came up to be about the second AR, and the Metal started picking up a submachine gun to help out the pace differential because Real was finding themselves a lot of good pressure, a lot of good opening pressure, but Sukari was not able to at least hold down these longer lines of sight where Maple was just getting away with highway robbery, about 4,800 damage, 36 and 25 for the kid.
The one thing I will say is, looking at those stats, looking at Lucky, that's the big question mark over this entire series, right? Is, how is he going to perform now? He's on an SMG, Sukri now playing that main AR role. It might sound funny because we're talking about Tuscan hardpoint, and Tuscan is just such a close quarters map where you're relying mostly on your SMGs. But Lucky gave so much space towards the SMGs on this roster previously when Rocker Academy was seeing so much success, right? When he was playing that AR role. Now that he's not doing that, I kind of wonder how much of an effect that had on the team there in map number 1. How much of an effect that will have moving forward. But we're looking now over towards another matchup going on. It's Dizzy's Rascals versus Ultra Academy EU. Let's see what can happen between these two teams. Right now, Dizzy's Rascals, they are impressing. They're up in the hardpoint.
Yeah, I mean, Dizzy, new kid on the block, and his Rascals, look at him go. 24 and 20, 33 and 15 for Henry, by the way. How about having a nice little Bokaj hardpoint, about a 100-point differential ahead of Ultra Academy EU. Dizzy's Rascals, by the way, that were able to force out a map 5 versus Team War in their opening matchup, came up short on the Bokaj Search and Destroy, lost that 6-2, but they are looking to start off quite strong versus another juggernaut here of EU challengers and taking out Ultra Academy EU on a Bokaj, no less.
Yeah, this would be quite a statement, wouldn't it? I will say, generally speaking, Ultra Academy EU, we look at the last matchup they did have. I think it was both hardpoints they lost, right? So maybe this is something that Ultra Academy EU just need to work on. But as we get into this one, we won't count them out just yet. They could absolutely still come back into this one. They just kind of need to break on through towards the barn side. This is one of the more mixy hardpoints we have here on Bakaj. I kind of say that like most of the hardpoints aren't mixy, but regardless, Ultra Academy EU, they're able to get a quick wave of kills together. They're on towards the hardpoint, and now maybe they can change some time together. And this is pretty good from Beans. 3 in a row for this man. When Beans wants to go off, he'll go off.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we saw that to be quite obvious when you go back to that Kavutu hardpoint, even that was played in their previous matchup. Although losing it to Mistaken, it was still quite relevant that Beans is clearly the cornerstone, could be the catalyst for this team. But I think that a catalyst is just simply not going to shine bright enough when you're down by a solid 150 points, or 130 points. Sorry, math is hard, going in towards a P4 hardpoint. Dizzy's Rascals at 215 and 87. This just seems a mountain that is just too steep to climb for Ultra Academy EU.
Going to be a tough one for sure. Dizzy's Rascals going to hit that 220-point mark, just 30 points away from victory here, and they have the rotation, and they have some streaks from Connor as well. The information gained, the kill coming through. Dizzy's Rascals should be able to get right back in on the hard point now. It's just a case of reading the spawns, knowing where Ultra Academy EU are coming from, and these guys are pretty well weathered in this map mode combination. They know exactly where Ultra Academy are going to spawn now, just 15 seconds away. Look at the sprees, by the way, at the end of the game. Whalers on a 5, Dizzy on a 3, BB Connor on a 4. There is not a single Ultra Academy EU kill in sight. Whalers, doesn't really matter at this point whether you earn the glide bomb. You're not going to get a chance to use it. Dizzy's Rascals finish an indomitable map number 1 against Ultra Academy EU.
100-point club, Ultra Academy EU. On a Bocage hard, yeah, on a Bocage. Again, a map that is, I guess, stereotypically very close when two teams are quite competitive between each other. But again, it's one of those things, again, from Ultra Academy EU's opening matchup versus Mistaken that we were able to see that it was quite obvious. It was just... It was one of those things that they clearly seemed to be a little bit more, I guess, disjointed on. Again, you know, Gizmo stepping in for now Harry, ever since Harry then got picked up by Lenoreal Ravens ahead of the Pro-Am. This just seems like Ultra Academy EU is just trying to find themselves to be able to get that comfort back for this team as a whole, to be able to start really walking away with these hard points as cleanly as they were in previous seasons.
Yeah, well, we did get to look at the end of that hard point between Dizzy's Rascals and Ultra Academy EU. Quite an impressive scoreline there for the former roster. And actually, Dizzy's Rascals, they're one of the bigger question marks I think we have coming into this season. I think Doge Nation, the roster that they were formerly known as back when they had Abuser in Season 2, they were one of the surprises of Season 2, I think. You know, they came out, off the back of a United Nations run that didn't go so well in Season 1. They performed much better in Season 2, making it towards playoffs, I think, in a surprise finish, to be honest. But now there's even more question marks over this roster, Andy, because they bring a player that I haven't heard of before in Dizzy. I don't know if that's just because I'm unknowledgeable as hell, but I mean, this Dizzy guy, he seems to impress him at the moment. 35 and 24, these guys have clearly picked him up for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, the pace was clearly there. Yeah, I mean, we hopped in. They were still, like, ahead what felt like maybe about, like, 100 and some odd points. Like, the pacing was clearly different coming through from Dizzy's Rascals over Ultra Academy EU. I mean, you can see Stevo, Gizmo, Furious, just so significantly negative. 1836, 1934, 1734, respectfully, were just a non-benefactor to be able to combat against the pace that was being brought to the table from Dizzy's Rascals.
Yeah, you know, I did actually ask Chafing about this, asking like, hey, you know, what do you know about this Dizzy guy before we came into the season, knowing that he was the player that this team was picking up, and he said, hey, look, this guy, he's pretty good at Call of Duty, so we do know that much, and we can see that from map number 1. We'll keep you guys updated with what's happening between Dizzy's Rascals and Ultra Academy EU moving forward. But back over towards Team War and Rocker Academy. Don't worry, we've got that Spartan helmet for you guys now. For Team War on our screens, as it's going to be Wee Man drawing not just first blood but second as well, and third off screen. What on earth is happening? Sukri left up 1v3. Yeah, you're going to need like 3 hands to take down all of those players. That's not happening.
No, I don't think it's going to be happening at all. As you can see also in the picture-in-picture, Dos Tontos will be clearly one up in the series, but they're going up against a Mistaken esports roster that are currently leading as far as the S&D is concerned, 3-0. Yeah, this Bocage Search and Destroy, again, is a very interesting pick. Again, whether or not Rocker Academy are comfortable on it, it's still one of those things that Team War were absolutely able to run over Dizzy's Rascals on the map number 5 in that opening series. They're on the main broadcast 6-2, so it will be interesting to see how the bounce back will be coming through. Will be at least an offensive attempt coming through from Rocker Academy. Looking for an A committal.
Maple towards the back line. He's in the power position that you do need to deal with if you're a Rocker Academy. You get him, maybe this plant is actually possible. Made over to try and do it. It's not going to connect. Denzer elsewhere has drawn that first blood as well. So for Rocker Academy, this round hasn't exactly gone as intended. Maybe they can get something off a Real flank. Maybe they'll sniff it out before he's able to execute. Has to get past Wee Man in the back line, and that's, I think, going to be the problem more than anything for Real. Maple's watching that top grandma's area. Maple with the COD knowledge to know exactly where Real's going to come from.
I mean, Maple and Search and Destroy, timings and knowledge alike. Name a more iconic trio as a may end up beating. I will truly wait, as I am getting shades again of Modern Warfare. Siggy Maple coming through on Search and Destroy, watching him play through Vanguard continuously. It's just such a limelight of focus for the Team Wars roster success on Search and Destroy continuously. They didn't even do anything like too crazy either. I mean, they just had a nice traditional setup. They wait for Rocker Academy to throw shoulders, get some information. They came up with absolutely nothing. Team War with a 2-round lead here in the Search.
start from Team War. You can look at Denza right now on a 4 in a row, starting to put together a streak. Play this a little bit more passively, therefore, to try and make sure he earns it. Be a nice way to shut out Rocker Academy in this search and destroy. For Rocker Academy here, something a lot more passive than maybe you would otherwise expect. They're waiting for Team War to make the first move. There it is, and look at the cover fire coming on through. Nice slide in towards the site from Maple. Sukri, though, how ready is he for this initial push? The snap comes through. Metals elsewhere is going to draw the first blood, but the bomb now down here for Team War. Rocker Academy, you're already one man down here in the situation, able to trade things out for 2 for 2. We man with another one, but look at Real. He's on the defuse. Is anybody from Team War going to get this? No, they're not. Real with a heads-up play.
Yeah, they're able to like snuff out the timing. The pressure was there on the backside of the Dovecot tower. It was very influential to be able to at least hold down that very long riverbend side. And it was this kill specifically to be able to take down Maple through the tunnel. They were in that clutch position to be able to find that timing to be able to take Real off that bomb defuse. Again, Maple knows the timings, knows that if there's no pressure coming through from one specific lane, we need to go check that bomb that was planted. It comes through. But Sukri, just the whereabouts, Sprat Pistol, catching Maple and attack sprint, is able to take them down. So you got Wee Man and Denza on 4 sprees respectfully between the two of them. At least Rocker Academy keeping their heads above water, not letting Team War walk away with the search.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing is, right, even in that 1 versus 2, Wee Man and Denza both survive, right? So it's kind of like, it's a positive in a way for Team War. They'll be happy with the situation, even if they do end up losing the round. And once again, we face kind of these Mexican standoff situations where nobody wants to make the first move. I don't really blame either side. Rocker Academy hoping that Team War give them something on the offense. Denza inside tools. Just going to back away now. Nades being thrown. Any information would be nice here, but it's going to be Wee Man drawing that first blood.
And when Wee Man found that kill over by Gate, that's not even tradable. Denza finds the timing to find Sukri over by the shed. And now a quick 2v4 in favor of the defense. Again, just playing with the timings, getting in the heads of Rocker Academy rent-free, would feel. A 2v4 clutch would be insurmountable to the success for Rocker Academy, but they not only have to recover that bomb outside of the shed, got to be able to somehow get themselves closer towards a semblance of even numbers.
Oh, Real has just run himself right through a couple of players. He should get taken there. What? Oh, my goodness me. Real clutching up there with a couple of crazy kills now for Team War. You've lost one of your players on a streak. Now it's just down to the other one. Denza. Can he get number 6 and number 7 here in a 1 versus 2? Real has the bomb in hand. Should be able to make it towards B in time. Actually, there you go. So he's going to get the bomb down. 1v1. Denza. How do you play this? Going to be checking the under tunnel. City spot. I use it quite a lot. Real is not there. Game of hide and seek will continue at least now for another 20 seconds or so. Denza checking every nook and cranny to find Real. Did he just spot him?
I don't think so.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, you just continue to play the timing here. Denza is clearing every single angle, doesn't see him at all, needs to push all the way through the point of contact. Denza finds it. Does he get back to the bomb in time? He needs 7.5 seconds. He gets there in time. It's going to be close. I'm pretty sure it's going to have maybe 0.2 of a second. And it will indeed. 0.6, just barely gets there. I mean, if you're Real, like, you did nothing wrong. You have to go back and check the bomb. Denza cleared all the angles. There was no contest coming through from the tunnel side. Cleared the backside of the Willow Tree. Cleared Dovecot Tower. It was able to work their way all the way inside of the river in just 0.6 seconds is all Real needed to either try to find that gunfight, maybe get some damage, run away with their life. They obviously didn't have any nades or stuns to be able to use there at the moment of time. But, I mean, Denza not only walks away with the clutch in that 1v2, stops Rocker Academy in that 2v4, also finds themselves on a 7 spree, gets themselves a glide bomb.
That's the key thing, right? They had 2 attempts to get that glide bomb. Denza's going to get his. That makes this infinitely easier, but they're not quite infallible. And there's that glide bomb coming on through. It's a move to gain information. Team War will be happy with that. 3v3 we go, but they haven't got the bomb down just yet. Metals. That's a very crazy move, but we'll end up falling off the back of it now. 2v3. Can Sukri put the numbers in favor? Nope. Cannot. Real 1v3. This would be crazy if you can get it done. Already done 1v2, or that time the bomb was down.
Double weapon setup, but the last known position from Real was top attic. You can see the rotations, specifically for the X-ray. They were like, hey, look, he's going to have an LOS over top Grandma's. We just rotate this over by B. We play our numbers. Wee Man throws the shoulder out from the shed. Team War on a Bocage search and destroy. Their timings, their executes, and everything else in between is just so sublime to watch. The help was there even from the push. I thought the trade was going to be there. It still would have been a numbers advantage for the offense for Team War. Obviously, the trade would have been there for sure, but the help, regardless, to at least keep that 3v odd situation intact in favor of the offense, it's just what makes this team just so deadly. Denza coming back into their form, and I say that very loosely because comparatively to season 1 into 2, he was being outshined more or less by Wardy on the search and destroys, but Denza is a menace when it comes down to their timings. Nice stun from Real over the top. We'll at least know that there's one player here. We'll trade the nades, but that nade, oh no, Metals. A little bit of miscommunication, you would feel.
That's tough, isn't it? Real unlucky now, 2v3. Ugh, that's not going to be a kill. Woody will end up getting it now. Lucky 1v3. Back to his native automaton as the first versus Wee Man. Of course, the bigger problem here for Lucky is he has to retrieve that bomb. Oh, he's going to get the first few shots into Wardy, but not the kill. And that's tough now because Wardy now knows exactly where Lucky is, at the very least what side of the map he's on. Probably aware of the fact that Lucky, if he does go all the way around, will time out the round. Lucky's going to do exactly that, so that'll leave him a bit short-handed in the 1 versus 2. Spots out Maple. Can he get the kill? No, that's the second time now that Lucky unable to win the gunfight. Andy, this is tough.
I mean, you can see where the bomb is at as well. He's going to come over towards the cut in the doorway. He's going to run into a player just lurking. Team War, 3 rounds in a row on the Bocage search and destroy after losing the 2. Rocker Academy almost come back from the utmost depths, be able to at least give themselves somewhat of an answer. But I mean, it's the early first bloods that come through. It's the early engagements that Team War were just able to find. The crossfire is just way too strong. They take a 2-0 lead in our main focus of a series.
Well, Team War will be feeling pretty confident over there in that matchup. We're going to turn our attention now, though, to Mistaken Esports and Dos Tontos, San Mateo. See what they can do. Currently 4-4 in the search and destroy, but Snake are left up in the 1 versus 3. And, well, you get spotted out by Journey and will be taken down.
Dos Tontos able to walk away with that map number 1 win on the Kavutsu hardpoint, 250 to 155. And when you're thinking about the grander scheme of things, it's this man Journey on a Berlin search and destroy back when they were on Rocker Academy, coupled that along with Lucky with the sniper rifle that was able to find just some zany timings to be able to walk away with gunfights where they really have no business to be able to do, is looking that they are following suit 9 and 6 for both them and Super respectfully. The other side, though, Snake trying to make an answer for it at 9 and 6 themselves. But map point regardless here for Dos Tontos, and they're on an offensive side, and you know they love to be able to aggressively hit inside of mail and try to play some of these timings. Journey was not immediately looking at the crossover here. He does have the glide bomb. He's just playing for the timing. The information's there. They know that one player's inside the hut.
Yeah, that information is so crucial. Now you know exactly where these players are. You can just send your minions to go and get them, and I literally mean minions in one case particularly. But Dos Tontos here, all the kills in their favor. Johnny W now left up 1v4. This is almost impossible, and there you go. He's going to fall. Dos Tontos able to win it. Last couple of rounds will be going their way.
We didn't get to see too much of it, but clearly that little 7 spree that Journey hopped in on, we know when Journey starts feeling the gunny, he starts feeling himself, man, he is one hard gunfight to be able to take. I mean, that is no easy feat to say the least, and Super also along with there as well. Look, there was at one point as well, I believe it was through season 1 of Challengers Elite, and was also arguably coming through from season 2 as well. Super was always right there, almost arguing to be like number 1, number 2, if not number 3 player throughout all of European Challengers Elite as well. Now you put that along with Journey on Search and Destroy. I mean, that just makes this team a little bit more deadly to be able to get their hands dirty. Not saying that they were lacking it beforehand, but with Journey now picking up the AR flex and just allowing Super to be able to play that longer line of sight, there's no more argument who's pulling up the sniper, Super or Super. Clearly, we know where the roles are going to be intact. It just continues to put themselves in favorable positions, obviously, to be able to work those first bloods. The information trade, the executes are just absolutely sublime, is what we saw, at least from those rounds coming through from Dos Santos.
Yeah, well, look, they lost their first series, right? So they'll want to win this one to at least have a good start to Challengers Elite Season 3. We can take a look at the stats at the end of the search and destroy between Team War and Rocker Academy. I mean, look, we kind of knew this when we were in the middle of it. Wee Man and Denzo, we saw their sprees. We saw how well they were playing. 9 kills apiece is what they finished with. Massive proponents as to why Team War were able to win that search and destroy. Although, what we already know kind of from season 2, again, that's the only tournament recently that we've been able to get stats from, is that all those players are very proficient in search and destroy. So it's not a surprise to see them playing top dog. On the other hand, though, Rocker Academy, they seem to be struggling, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely struggling. Look, it's one thing to be said about Rocker Academy, number 2 team by name, coming away from season 2 of the Elite, trying to rectify recent losses, coming away from the Minnesota Open, not being able to qualify for the Pro Am. They're going up against Team War, and it's one thing to be said. Yes, Sukari, look, it's not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. It's an okay swap when you're thinking about it for Journey coming over towards Dos Tontos, but even more so than that, you're also messing with a role swap. You're really just changing how the gears and cogs actually do work for Rocker Academy, and you're going up against a Team War roster that ever since the beginning of season 2 of Challengers Elite have progressively been getting better, which on paper I know sounds crazy, but it's also just alarmingly scary because this team just gels together so well. And it's not necessarily saying that they're running away with it. Again, 20-point difference on the Tuscan Hardpoint. Again, it would have just been one realization on the P5 rotation going in towards the second set, but you can clearly see the class coming through and the executes. The trust is all there for Team War on that search and destroy. Quite alarming knowing what's ahead of them for map number
Yes.
3.
Yeah, this is the key thing. We're going into control. Team War were the best control team of Challengers Elite for season number 2 in Europe. I think probably globally, to be honest, over in the North America region as well. They were just one of the best teams in season 2. It is alarming for sure. We'll see how that one plays out, though, because Team War now 2-0 up over Rocker Academy. Can they get it done in 3, or will maybe Rocker Academy start to put together the reverse sweep? That is a question we have on our hands. We'll have the answer right after this break. Alright everybody, welcome back here to Call of Duty Challengers Elite Season 3. We're jumping into a balloon control between Dizzy's Rascals and Ultra Academy EU. If you're just joining us, well, this has been a pretty interesting series so far. Map number 1 was Dizzy's Rascals taking a dominant hardpoint victory over Ultra Academy EU. Map number 2, however, also on a balloon. Ultra EU seemed to kind of run away with it. So back and forth we go, in towards the control we go, and it's a wave of gunfights for Ultra Academy EU.
No, I won't get away that mini-map blockers, though. You guys can all just see what's unfolding, but you can clearly see what's happening just from the kill feed itself. Ultra Academy EU have only lost 1 life, and it's that one trade that Dizzy was able to find. Finally, BB Connor at least finds yet another, but 26 seconds remaining, and somehow Dizzy's Rascals need to work their way out of their spawn, somehow get towards one of these zones to stop that clock.
They might have an opportunity to do so here. Wailers has to win this 1v1. Does actually do it against Gizmo there. Massive gunfight to win. Now it's just Beans left to deal with. As finally, with 15.9 seconds left on the clock, Dizzy's Rascals are able to stop the clock. Beans, if he gets that second kill, that is disgusting, but he doesn't do it. The first tick of aggression now for Dizzy's Rascals. Should be able to get it done. Furious is still here, though, still being an annoyance. Vortex isn't far away, and Ultra Academy EU, they have a serious response to this Dizzy Rascals roster. That is all players wiped out. Furious, can he stop anybody from Dizzy's Rascals touching this point? Maybe Wailers will be able to touch, and he will do, with 2.5 seconds left on the clock here. Dizzy's Rascals, they're hanging by a thread here in this control. But Beans and Steve-O come through. They wipe him out. Wailers trying to hold on, cannot get it done. And that's a solid start for Ultra Academy EU.
Yeah, only allowing just a single tick of progression. That's kind of absurd when you're thinking about it in the grander scheme of things. Just overall dominance when you're thinking about it as well. Berlin Control is just one of those, again, a newer introduction when it comes down to a map mode combination for Vanguard, but it really plays off as far as an aggressive team can just really lock players, the offensive team, trapped over on the backside of the warehouse. We'll swap over towards our main focus here, Rocker Academy versus Team War. Gavutu Control. Again, like I was saying before the break, Brody, I'm surprised this yet again comes through. Rocker Academy, again, picking or allowing the Gavutu Control to come all the way through versus Team War, a map mode combination they have lost a handful of times over versus this roster.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because I don't think you're ever going to have a good map on Control versus Team War. Maybe if you wanted to, you could try and play the Berlin, but I don't even know. Maybe that was the veto for Team War. It's tough, right? It is. That's just the basic here for Rocker Academy. But hey, let's not count them out. You know, War, they did lose 1 control in Season 2. Maybe this is going to be control in number 2 as Rocker Academy starting to capture this A zone. You can see Team War, they're already positioned themselves for this to be a loss on A.
As well, don't want to be giving up too many lives. 50 seconds left to play. The Wardy might actually be able to find some time. He does find one. That's the player that's on the A zone itself, so won't actually deplete the progress. If you're Wardy here, you just got to continue to play your life because you know that you're going to have Rocker Academy players trying to fish you out. Metals will at least walk away with that kill. Top of the tank is able to take down Maple as well. Surely that's the A zone fully captured. Every single time we keep saying it, I mean, Team War players just continue to resurface themselves. Finally, Denza goes down. 60 seconds should be added onto the board, and yes, it will. 18 lives apiece.
So Rocker Academy now going to have to reposition themselves around what Team War have done. They set themselves up pretty early on for losing A. Wingman gets stopped short of a streak, so that's pretty big for Rocker Academy to removing from that. As Team War now on the defense really start to set up this push to make sure that Rocker Academy do not get out of the base. We can see in the picture right now, Dos Tontos 2-0 up in their control on Gavutu versus Mistaken Esports. That is good after a bit of a stumble so far here in Challengers Elite Season 3. We'll keep you guys updated with what's going on with that as it continues. But back to this one for now. Team War keeping Rocker Academy at bay, but here they come through green, Andy.
Abel has the read on this, needs to win the gunfight. Metals does take him down, so now it's your flank that's completely blown open. But the thing about this is that Team War have completely recollected themselves quite wonderfully. They're also just looking for Maple fresh out the respawn. They know that he's going to be around, but again, recollecting themselves wonderfully indeed. Team War have more or less just flipped the map and to put themselves having a player inside of the P4 area. That's Wardy will lose the upcoming gunfight. But what's most influential is they got players controlling top ring.
Here comes Denzer and Maple. Couple of kills in favor of Team War here. 30 seconds on the clock, and there's a wave of kills that'll enable them to clear the point. Rocker Academy just cannot get close. Wee Man now starting to push the issue as well. Rocker Academy, they have to fight their way through the beaches. Taking down Wee Man and Denzer, that's going to be a good start, but you need to remove Maple from the beach itself, and it's tough when he's able to get a two-piece like that. 5 in a row now for Maple. Rocker Academy brought down to their last set of lives here in this round. Even if you get out, you might well just be feeding yourself to Maple, who, again, 2 kills off that glide bomb, and that thing is deadly here on Gavutu.
Yeah, quite the influential reforce when you're thinking about breaking inside of that B zone, isn't it? But just to go back to the conversation at hand when it comes down to the picks, bans, and vetoes, I'll let everybody know at home, and you as well, Brody, that it was actually a Berlin control ban that came through from Team War. I don't believe they actually ended up even playing it over at the Pro-Am, if not even maybe looking at it. Could just be a hard veto until they're feeling comfortable with the practice. And then Rocker Academy actually picked the Gavutu control. So not wanting to bring Team War over towards Tuscan, though, again, an uphill battle to say the least when you are thinking about taking Team War on any control map. Again, only losing one Tuscan control, the Ultra Academy EU, across the entirety of Season 2 of the League, going for broke, trying to go for this B zone first and foremost. They lose their numbers thanks to a nice little flank that comes through from Metals up by top ring. That'll force all of Team War back to the respawn and try to resurface themselves to maybe attack another zone.
And this position is very hard to break out of. You really need to kind of put all effort into one of these zones. Team War team kind of uncertain for now exactly where they want to go. Real over on Rock's side, looking to take these players out. Wardy's now the last player left alive in the middle of the map. He should be swiftly dealt with there by Metals, and he will be. So 45 seconds left on the clock now for War to try and escape this spawn trap. But as we said, Gavutu, it is super mean in these situations. Very tough to break out of this one. Team War, they seem to be opting to push all along that rock face. But again, you've got to get past Real to do it. There is an opening that has presented itself now, though. Weeman able to take down Metals. Can they get any more kills off the back of this one? Real going to get stopped short there. Team War, maybe an opening now as Wardy picks up 2.
Need to get onto the Z zone. Need to start stalling out that clock, and they will finally do so. 16 seconds remaining. Metals top LST can't find much more of anything, but who makes the play? It's Real towards the middle of the map. Does take down Weeman, but unbeknownst to them, they still have another isolated engagement. It's Wardy that's controlling top LST. 6 seconds remaining, and Team War, they need to find these kills. They need to get on towards one of these zones.
Yeah, Wardy there. I think he was just looking for something, maybe to create an opening for the rest of his roster. They're not able to touch the point, so Rocker Academy, they do well to keep them off the point. No tick progression whatsoever, and that's at the back of what? Round number 1, where Rocker Academy themselves are able to get full control over A. So they'll be happy with the way the first couple of rounds have gone so far, Andy.
Yeah, and the reason why, again, just to expand off of that, for control here in Vanguard, overall tick progression will garner you that round 5 defense. It is that 3 tick progression lead that Rocker Academy do hold over Team War's Spartan helmet looking head. So it's going to be interesting to say the least. Team War essentially need to go for a full hold here and then get themselves 3 and a tick over at B for their next offense. But I like this call coming through from Rocker Academy, trying to go for the B zone first. They know they currently hold the lead, but it's all just isolated picks. I mean, Metals truly thought that they were not going to be making this push alone, as they ended up at least losing Sukri on that push over by the beachfront, and now it's just gone haywire. Towards the middle of the map, they will turn Rocker Academy pinstripe kill feed. Not going to be good enough to get towards one of these zones and stop the clock early.
Team War keeping Rocker Academy away for now. Rocker Academy, they're knocking at the door over towards the LST ship. They already got full control over it in round number 1. Wardy's just keeping himself held back at the moment, overwatching the top of that LST. It will be Real and Sukri, the players to deal with, as Lucky now towards the middle of the map, has won that one gunfight, switching out towards the dock side, looking for the second, turns around for number 3, will get it with a rat, and now turning back towards the point to try and support the rest of his roster as Rocker Academy look to capture Zone A. Lucky still on this spree, and what do you know, Andy? He's back with the automaton. Lucky is doing bits, looking for some more gunfights to win now, has a few more threats to be dealt with. The rest of the team doing pretty well as well. And now Rocker Academy, they should be able to get on the point and start making this progress.
Yeah, especially with Lucky controlling top LSC. You also have Metals that's pushed up inside of Green. Sukri was egregiously pushed up inside of the jungle path over by the P3 spawn. So that should cause much more of a distress for Rocker Academy to at least guarantee themselves that second tick of progression. Now looking at the third, I think Team War would be wise enough to just completely concede this, give over the extra 60 seconds because they are down by 3 lives. And again, Lucky on an AR is something that you would probably almost expect on a 5 spree here on a Gavutu control, where you do typically see 3 ARs being run. You would almost continuously have the young buck of Real on that mainstay SMG. 60 seconds out on towards the board. Rocker Academy with a 5-life lead.
Maybe Metals can do something here. Ideally wanted that gunfight versus Denzer towards the back line. Now they're going to have to do it themselves. Now, the spawns coming in for Team War means they know that somebody is in from behind. Real has been sniffed out and does get taken down. This now becomes much more one-dimensional for Rocker Academy. You've got to take this one from the front. You've got to take this one from the anti-air ring. And I don't really think they've got control of that, especially as those gunfights do come on through. Denza is just being a nuisance right now over there against Lucky. He will finally be taken down, but time is just being wasted right now here in this game, Addy. 45 seconds left on the clock here for Rocker Academy to do something. They've got to make their way through the anti-air gun. Wee Man sitting inside the boat, trying to weather the storm as the rest of his players coming up from behind.
Continue to whittle down the lives. Trades will be good, but the problem still arises that if you don't find these trades, you can't get on that zone. Teamwork can just exhaust the clock. That's their immediate win condition, and they're so focused on this beachfront hit, Brody, that you can see player number 8, Denza, loves himself a good route, loves himself a good low flank, and just the blind trust that the 8 yards are just going to lock things down. Metals might be able to find a timing to get themselves on the B zone late, but even more so than that, it takes about 15 seconds to just trek from the west side of the map all the way over towards the east. Metals actually gets tagged with a nade. That's going to call for them to get activated, and the second they pop up, they will go down.
That's tough. Metals was waiting there for the longest time, by the way.
Yeah.
And zero idea. It was like Solid Snake or something. And no idea that he was around there. But regardless, Team War, they're going to come out on top. Crucially as well, they only give away 8. Rocker Academy will still be happy with that, though. They now, have a 6-point lead over their opposition, right? This is going to be a tough one if you're a Team War. I mean, you have to win this round, basically, here. And they get it done on the offense, Andy.
It's either win this offense here or win the offense in round number 5. It's really just tale of two evils, really, when it comes down to a Gavutu control. Very tough to be able to convert both of these zones, but win it out early as far as tick progression, you win that war of attrition. They will get on this A zone early. No reason to go for broke over by that B zone. Trades will be good. At least there is some help through the middle of the map. But again, trades in favor of the defense are that much better in favor of the offense. They have the positional advantage for themselves. Looking towards top ring, Sukri actually loses that one off screen. So Team War actually calling the audible. They find the gunfights in over towards top ring. They're trying to convert this towards a B zone push.
I really like the play from Team War. They know they need to do this. They need to win the gunfights, though. That is the key thing. Maple, unfortunately, going to lose his one despite having a real presence here in this game. Unfortunately, not able to pull it through towards this round. So Team War, backs against the wall now. What do you do here in this situation? You might send yourselves over towards A. That seems to be the safe bet, at least, to get another 60 seconds on towards the clock. But even, is that safe at this point in the game? I mean, Lucky towards the middle map seems to be a threat. He will be dealt with swiftly. And now for Rocker Academy, push back towards green. They've got one player in on the flank as well. That is Real, who has actually been dealt with. Sukri will fall. So Team War, they're given a moment to breathe. They've got control of the LST ship and the docks area. Now looking to capture this point. They get this, an extra 60 seconds go on the clock. And another chance at B.
You just have to be careful if you are Rocker Academy. I mean, how many times in previous seasons, even when they were playing with Journey, we have seen them egregiously try to challenge to be able to get that A zone back in their favor, and they're losing so many lives. Finally, the kills come through. They can flood on in towards the LST ship. They can get inside the A zone. That second tick of progression will get depleted. So Wardy, they have to make the call. They have to get over towards that B zone and stall out that clock and hope reinforcements can come through.
You can see in the picture right now, Dizzy's Rascals versus Ultra Academy EU. We were talking about that control earlier on where it was at 2-0. Now it's 2-2 between the two teams in round number 5. The zone capture starting to come through from Dizzy's Rascals. They are so close to winning that one. Just 10 seconds on the clock here in this defensive round for Rocker Academy. They seem pretty solid. This will be going to a round number 5.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. Again, every single time that you really felt like that Team War had that moment to breathe, right? That they had to push for more space. They had to try to deal with defenders slowly getting themselves past cage, past the middle of the map, in towards positions to be able to deal with these players for Team War that were still soaking up tick progression. And the trades just were constantly all the way there, even though that Maple went on somewhere like an absurd, maybe 4, maybe closer to a 5, so they're 26-19 for crying out loud. It just simply was not enough for the reinforcements for Rocker Academy to just flood back way over towards A. The opening rip needs to be cleaner from Team War if they want to walk away with this control for a clean 3-0. Otherwise, they're going to be staring down the barrel of a map number 4.
Indeed they will. Rocker Academy on the defense. They managed to do it in the last round. Can they do it once again here? Well, the first wave of gunfights will effectively go in favor of Team War, but very quickly, Rocker Academy right back towards the point they go. They do not have control of top LST. That is currently in the hands, or rather, the automaton of Wee Man, who is there ready to deal with these gunfights. Rocker know just how important that power position can be. Lucky, he was angling for it for the longest time. Takes Wee Man down. It's systematic the way this is happening, Andy. Just the one player left up now. It's Denza in the point, but you never quite can't count out Denza, can we? He's able to pick up 3 in a row. That gives Team War now the space to get on towards the point.
Yeah, but it's time for the reinforcements to come through as well. 3 players strong. Now Real trying to put on their best impression to be able to try to get this A-zone back in their favor. But while all this giant squabble was happening, they are just now working up that first tick progression. Just a 2-life lead that Team War are looking at. But look at what they're doing from the map position as well. Wardy continuously pressuring out the bottom side of Cage. Unbeknownst to them, there is a player up top. But Wardy, smart enough as they may be, is trying to clear it. But Real will break their camera. We'll find that kill. Numbers at least suggesting that Rocker Academy can hold the line. Barring even a team kill comes through, it's a smart decision by Rocker Academy to concede it, add the extra 60 seconds onto the board, and go for broke and just hold on the B zone.
Players fallen by the wayside. 90 seconds here. That's how much time Team War have to break on through towards B. Going to be a tough one. Rocker Academy setup seems pretty solid. They've got Sukri over towards that beach side. All the gunfights being won by the rest of the Rocker Academy crew over towards the LST. Team War need to put together a solid hit and really remove Sukri from this power position. And that looks exactly what their plan is. Lucky is going to fall elsewhere. And there you go. They've broken out of prison. Team War, they've managed to give themselves some space now. Now they need to follow it up with another wave of gunfights. It will get them right on towards B. And here they go, Andy. Wee Man, he's going to draw that first blood.
Gonna be able to get that first blood, but the issue still resides for itself. Can you even get towards this B zone? Because you still have players in towards your spawn. That's Real that was at least cutting down reinforcements. That at least is going to cause a little bit of the stress for Denza that they have to be able to find that trade. They do, and that means that the numbers will be dwindled for Team War to be able to mount a full-on blown offense over towards the B zone. Now Denza has to play their life. Nice little angle to be able to find themselves killed number 3 in a row, but their position is more than made aware for Rocker Academy on the other side of that seawall. Able to at least buy themselves the time, the space. 26 seconds remaining, and Warriors on the flank.
A lot of time to make this one work. If you're Team War, you need to find a wave of gunfights, and you need to do it right about now. Wee Man is going to pick up 2. If you can get on the point, that would be huge, but you're weak, and he knew the importance of getting on towards the point to put a stopper on the timer. But now, 6 versus 4 we go. We didn't think this was going to go down to lives, but somehow, Team War, they're on the point. They might be able to just force it, and Denza in from behind to play hero. He's got his cape on and everything. He picks up one of those gunfights. Team War, 15 seconds left now. 5v3 we go. Denza might well have the time to come and help on out. Team War, they're progressing on the point as well. Rocker, no, they need to get this one perfect, and Sukri gets a little bit ahead of himself. He will run on out to try and pull off some heroics. Metal's going to fall as well. The last player will fall, and Team War, they get it done here in control.
Oh, they win it out in round number 5 on an offense, no less, again by lies. We didn't think, like you were saying, that it was going to be a cause of distress or maybe even a focus to be able to close out that round. But the handful of kills, the handful of sprees that started coming all the way through for Team War was just more than enough space. Ample opportunity for them to be able to get players in towards the back. Wardy on the backside of Cage found that 2-piece. It bought time. It bought the space for the 3 players then to come down from ring to be able to get onto that B zone. And then in that 3-odd situation, the way that Sukri ended up just egregiously pushing towards the lander to be able to stall out, contest the take progression, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Would probably suggest that they probably didn't have any stuns or nades to be able to throw over top of the lander to at least maybe give themselves an opportunity to get over there, more or less to get themselves in a position over by the seawall head glitch to be able to maybe even look at the players towards top ring. Regardless of the matter, it's just sloppy for Rocker Academy. Again, when that A zone is being converted, again, egregiously pushing towards the middle of the map, you can try to put yourself in a position, yes, to be able to get that A zone back in your favor, but you're in round number 5. There's no reason to give Team War a multitude of win conditions of what they were able to find for themselves. And it's just a little bit too one-dimensional for my own liking for Rocker Academy, who, again, on this Gavutu control, I truly do believe that they have not won a single Gavutu control in Challengers Elite at all. I'd have to go back and check my stats. If anything, they may have just won a single one. But even still, I mean, this Team War roster, when it comes down to control, their executes are looking pretty darn strong.
I don't know, because you remember, if we kind of cast on my back, I know this is a long while ago now, but I think it was like season 1 finals, right? Because we saw Rocker Academy, they pulled out Gavutu control in like the very final match of like just for playoffs. I think they like won it, played it every single time basically, and they were pretty good at it then. So it's not like Rocker Academy are bad at Gavutu. I don't know, just things look super disjointed. I think one thing we can say is we could probably chalk this up with the fact that they are still getting used to playing as this new 4, right? We're still trying to figure out where Sukri fits in with this team. I did notice Lucky was running an Ultimaton for the large majority of time there on
But
that
yeah, it's
map,
good
which doesn't
boost, you
make,
know, triple
yeah, it
AR.
doesn't make it that make that much of a surprise. But you know, I've got to say, when we see Lucky play with an Automaton, it seems like he's been playing better in this series than he has been with a sub. So we'll see how things progress with Rocker Academy. You know, at the end of the day, this is what, week number 1. This is day number 1. They've still got a lot of time to fix any issues they have moving forward, but they will lose that series 3-0 versus Team War. We can take a look over the stat lines then at Dizzy's Rascals versus Ultra Academy EU. And, well, once again, Dizzy's Rascals here. I mean, look, they may end up losing it, but it's Dizzy coming out on top with 30 kills. Not a surprise to see there. For Ultra Academy, though, things look like team effort once again.
Double negative for BB Connor. Not exactly where you want to have them at by any stretch of the imagination, though. Anything was suggestive after that first round where Dizzy's Rascals were only able to find themselves a single tick of progression on a Berlin control would definitely suggest, at least through the early stages of things, that they were getting heavily outslayed. The bounce back was still there, obviously, to force out around number 5, but Ultra Academy EU able to put themselves in a position to be able to go up 2-1 in the series. Remember, that Bokash hardpoint, Dizzy's Rascals were able to win 250 to 87. 100-point clubbing Ultra Academy EU is no easy feat here in Challengers Elite Season 3, but Dizzy's Rascals were able to do it. But now we go over towards a Gavutu hardpoint where, although they ended up losing this to Mistaken 250 to 224, Beans went on a monumental spree of about 10 in a row. They sequenced 3 all the way towards 4, and they currently are holding a 40-point lead over their adversaries of Dizzy's Rascals.
Hey, look, if you expect any map to be the map where your new addition to the squad goes off, it'll be this one, right, on Gavutu. And so far, that seems to be the case, as Gizmo, even at 7-7, we just saw him on a 6 spree, did get stopped short of any particular streaks there for Ultra Academy EU. So for Ultra, they're pretty happy with the position as it currently stands. They're looking to get the remaining scrap time off the back of this Radio Shack hardpoint. It will give them a bit of distance between themselves and the Dizzy Rascals roster. The bigger problem here, though, for Ultra Academy EU at this point in the game, Addy, look at this rotation. Dizzy's Rascals, they are the ones in control of it.
Currently in possession of it. You also have BB Connor on 5 spree, just locking down the jungle path, was able to find themselves 5 in a row. They're also looking at really good angles to deal with these players that are coming down from the concrete stairs. Steve-O might have slipped in that, but their position has to be more than aware. They were weak, but they're still able to Kool-Aid man out through the door, find Whalers. But that one single kill is not going to be good enough. Not when you still had BB Connor all the way over by the cliff path, just locking things down. This is an unanswered 25 seconds coming through from Dizzy's Rascals, and much needed at that to get themselves back into the game.
Well, we do expect them to get this time early on here, as Dizzy's Rascals did have control of the rotation. Ultra Academy, you didn't send players early on towards this hard point, but really the question is, can they get the remainder of this time? It would bring them right back level in towards this game, or near enough close to it. We see Dizzy looking to earn some streaks of his own, but Henry inside the LST ship, or rather on top of the LST ship, able to get a 2-piece there. Nicely done to provide some cover for the rest of his team. Dizzy does fall, I believe, short of those streaks, so that is something to note for Ultra Academy EU. They'll be happy that that one hasn't gone through, but towards the rotation, Gizmo, I don't think he was fully aware that someone was around. Sees out Whalers there. Make sure he doesn't get any time off the back of this next set of rotations. Dizzy's Rascals now trying to make their way on through from the lander area. Fiends and Furious, though, continuing to hold a foot in towards this hard point. Dizzy, can he do anything about this? He does end up falling. Ultra Academy EU now, with a couple more kills, should be able to keep Dizzy's Rascals away.
Look at that, the time is going to be good. When you're considering the odds, 30 seconds left to play over here, so you're realistically looking at battling heavily for the next 10, 12 seconds, and then you got to make sure you get a player over towards top LSC, or you can just continuously just fry on the bottom side of green, of which what Furious was looking for, but the trade will be coming through regardless. But all off of at least one team kill, trades coming through as well. Ultra Academy EU should at least be guaranteed the back end of these 10 seconds, so long as they keep somebody inside the hard point, and they're pushing all the way through. The battle over towards top LST ship is also won by Beans. So now if you are Dizzy's Rascals, you are weakened, you are battered, and you are bruised ahead of this rotation, but the trades will at least be there. The foot race truly alive until Whalers finds 3 off screen. That'll be the rotation 1, and the foot race to boot for Dizzy's Rascals here for the initial time.
This is the 3rd time we've seen a player from Dizzy's Rascals on a 5 or 6 spree, right, Andy? Dizzy's Rascals really happy with these plays at the moment. It's not getting them in the lead, though, in this game. Ultra Academy still have a 50.5 or so. Can Whalers earn some streaks and potentially change that here in this game? Nope is the answer. Gizmo takes him from far out, and that's another streak denied now that Ultra Academy will be happy about. Back towards the LST ship we go, though. Henry trying to get control of things. Gizmo able to take him down from above. There's one more player to deal with if you're a Gizmo, and that is gonna be Dizzy. I mean, he's just been such an annoyance for Ultra Academy EU this series thus far. With 15 seconds left, Dizzy's Rascals, they should be able to get this time. Now the battles for the rotations will ensue, and it will be Dizzy's Rascals who are able to win them.
Able to at least win them initially and keeping themselves just their heads just barely above water. Again, this is just a few gunfights away from Ultra Academy to truly start walking away with this game more so than they are currently. 40 points as far as the difference is concerned. Initials spawns to boot here for Dizzy's Rascals ahead of P3. They'll be here, yes, but they gotta win the gunfights as well. Stevo's under immense pressure inside of the hardpoint. BB Connor calls in that glide bomb, takes down Gizmo. That'll keep the space open for now, but Dizzy's Rascals still have a giant problem, and his name is Beans. He is top ring, and he will not allow you to get inside that lantern tank for free.
Dizzy's Rascals need to win these gunfights. They need to keep Ultra Academy EU out of the way. And to be honest, to be frank, they need to get inside the hardpoint themselves. They can't afford to not get the majority of time off the back of this hill. That next rotation will not be kind to them, but a couple of kills will come on through now for Dizzy's Rascals. Make that 3. That will effectively solidify the scrap time. Ultra Academy EU, they've given it up. Now moving over towards the rotation. And it's Henry from Dizzy's Rascals who wants to do something about it. He's only able to get one before falling. And I think now that may be the indicator for Dizzy's Rascals here. Let's hold off for a second. Team up, ready to break on through towards this next hard point. Smoke over towards the rock side. Has some support from his teammate. That's going to be Furious inside the LST. Does get shut down. Dizzy's Rascals looking to put this push through the LST. It's going to be tough, though, when Gizmo, he's here, he's ready, he's waiting for you. He's able to take down 2. Dizzy's Rascals will now spawn close.
Yeah, they will at least spawn on the bottom side of the cliff path, but look at player number 5 on the minimap. Beans is in that power position on the top of concrete stairs. BB Connor is able to at least recognize that, gets the trade, but Pinstripe kill feed, you're not going to break the spawns. You might be able to give yourself an opportunity to break from the front, but Stevo finds 2. That'll push Dizzy's Rascals back towards their spawn. But again, that's over by the LSC ship. You still have 2 players on the bottom side of the cliff path. Do you commit to this? Most would argue yes, because you don't want Ultra Academy EU to walk away with an abundance of time, but you also have to keep in mind that the rotation has to be secured at the same glance. So Dizzy's Rascals kind of playing with a double-edged sword, locking down the rotation, making sure that Beans cannot push through over by P3, making sure that they deal with all of the Ultra Academy EU players as they're leaving the spawns from P4. They have to have a monumental hold here.
Needs to be the hold for Dizzy's Rascals. Can they get it done? They've already allowed Steve to get through towards the cages, and there's the first kill, looking for the second. Has already spotted out Dizzy, but Dizzy actually wins that engagement, so that's big for Dizzy's Rascals. They're able to remove Ultra Academy EU from the hard point, but they're not exactly earning time themselves, and with a wave of kills for Ultra Academy EU, things are looking up. They're able to get inside the hard point themselves. We can already see these battles towards the beach side going down. It's going to be advanced battles for Ultra Academy EU to hold on towards the next hard point, but Addy, at this point, are they even really going to need it? Just 20 seconds left here in this game. They only need about 15. Furious is zoning these players off towards the mid-map. All the angles, they're being covered. Dizzy's Rascals, can they get a player through to put a stop to Ultra Academy EU? Henry might be the player, but he is shut down. Beans watching the cross. Nobody from Dizzy's Rascals is touching this hardpoint at Ultra Academy EU. They will close out the series in 4.
Yeah, they sure will. And again, it's something to be talked about continuously when it's this Ultra Academy EU roster, right? I mean, like when they put themselves in these positions, Brody, to where the crossfires can absolutely be looked at, it just really feels like it's always Beans. There's a slight little look at of Henry's play there to maybe try to put themselves in a position to maybe try to maybe break inside a multitude of hardpoints. It was always finding themselves beneficial 2-piece, 3 pieces there to be able to maybe continuously try to offer a lot of openings for Dizzy's Rascals, but it just simply was not enough when you're thinking about that leader's advantage, that 40 some odd point lead that was kind of being felt over the heads of Dizzy's Rascals, although they started to at least try to diminish that lead and that threshold that Ultra Academy EU held over their heads over by P3 in the previous rotation. It just simply was not enough. Not when you have these crossfires that are constantly being set up in an AR's playground of what we saw from Beans and Gizmo, who was not having the sexiest KD ratio when you're thinking about at the end of the first set of hard points. It was really just Stevo, Furious, and Beans that were playing a lot more steady, but Gizmo picks up the pace, only has 5 traded kills there towards the end, about 3,000 damage with about 2 minutes of hardpoint time as well. It's just something to talk about of why Gizmo is just that guy sometimes. Most of the time.
Gizmo is
the majority
I was
of the
going
time.
to say, absolutely. Gizmo and Beans are having a hell of a time there. It's not surprising to see the R's do exactly that, but of course, Stevo and Furious absolutely did their part for Ultra Academy EU. They're able to close The series out in 4, on the other hand, we have Dizzy's Rascals here. You know what? I will say at the end of day number 1, I am impressed with their roster, loss or victory, regardless. This team, they look pretty good. We had a few questions to ask about the team. Obviously, we didn't really know too much about Dizzy. I feel like I've learned a lot today here, Andy.
Yeah, like we asked our EU OLT experts both Pablo and Major Chafing about who the hell this Dizzy guy is, and they had to speak just one volume. Is that Dizzy is very good at Call of Duty. That was shown today. Is that Dizzy is quite cracked indeed. One of the up and comer EU talents from the OLT scene here in Challengers EU, as it may end up beating as an amateur player. It's still about being able to close out these maps at the grander gesture of it all. Again, to be able to 100-point Ultra Academy EU on a Bocage hardpoint, being able to do that within its own self. I mean, that's a big golden star, at least as the first day is concerned. The second golden star for Dizzy's Rascals, they were able to take Team War, yes, your former champions of Challengers Elite Season 2, to a map number 5 as well, beating them on a Gavutu hardpoint 250 to 164, and then beating them on the Gavutu Control 3-2. Those are very big steps in the right direction for Dizzy's Rascals, but again, unfortunate to say that they are starting off 0-2. Their road to be able to qualify for playoffs, to be a top 4 team at the end of the round robin stage, is just a little bit more damning when you're thinking about it, to almost have to win out across the other series that they still have to left to play.
Yeah, indeed. Now, I believe that means for us, at least, maybe I can be correct if I'm wrong. I think we are basically out of matches to give you guys for European challenges today. That doesn't mean the challenges is done, though. Just to confirm, there is still one more match to be cleared for the European region. That is Soleo Signs and Invincibles. That is going into map number 4 right now over at youtube.com/COD challenges. The wonderful Bryce and Ton are going to be giving you the casting for that one. So make sure you guys go check that out if you want some more Call of Duty challenges. For now, though, we're going to take a elongated breakaway, as it were, before we look over towards the North American region. Andy, mate, I cannot wait to see what's going on in North America. We will not be casting that one. We're going to be giving it over to Seymour and Cruz and Spaz for that one. You guys do not want to miss it. But we're back with European coverage tomorrow at the same time. Until then, we're seeing you.